morning, Manitoba. It is Monday, August 18th. You're watching CTV Morning Live. Thank you so much for being with us. Joseph Bernacki is going to tell us all about the field of beekeeping. He's taken us to a beekeeping farm. They are called the Bee Boys. We're going to tell you a little bit more about their business, how the bees are doing this year, as well as show you some different aspects. Not only are they making honey, but there's also meat and other products that they're looking at. So we're going to have details on that and more, but first your headlines. Crews rushed to 3 separate fires in the city this weekend, including one that started with a car explosion. The end of investigations now underway. From surviving a machete attack to fighting for his future in the arts, the recovery of a Winnipeg man and the concerns his story is now igniting. And after meeting Putin Friday, Donald Trump hosts Ukraine's Zelensky and European leaders. Today, what's at stake in the high-level talks? Bring it in, Terry. Now, it was kind of a wet weekend. It's still really wet out there, but it certainly felt like fall was switched on this weekend.
Oh, you felt it too. Yeah, my cab driver said the same thing to me this morning. It was a little bit cool and even below seasonal for the weekend, and you can expect those cooler temperatures to still kind of linger, but it is going to be back up to normal for this time of year. It maybe just feels that cool fall weather because we're still waiting for the sun to be up, and we're going to wait almost half an hour. I think it's 6:24 is when the sun finally rises this morning, and the drizzle is still falling out there. There's a bit of fog as well. 16 degrees with winds out of the east-southeast. They're only 9 kilometers per hour, and they'll remain on the lighter side today. Pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 100%. We will likely eventually see some sunshine, but it'll probably take into midday or even into the afternoon before those clouds begin to clear. We're watching the end of this system kind of moving on out, but still, yes, a little bit of drizzle and of course plenty of puddles out there this morning. That's what you're going to be waking up to. So just all things to keep in mind for your morning, but maybe even into the afternoon we'll still see some of those clouds lingering in some places. So here you can see in parts of the northeast also dealing with some lingering precipitation. This whole band from the northeast down into the south, although it is continuing to track further to the east. There's the clearing that's going to come behind it. Western Manitoba will certainly see some of that. We'll start to see some of those clouds moving out as well. And for tomorrow, even more so. Very clear conditions right across the province. We're seeing a return to the sunshine again. Central Manitoba might again see some precipitation, but not until later on into the day. Another round of thunderstorms, not till later on into the week, though, and it will still rise. We got some hot temperatures still to come.
Thanks, Terry. Fire crews were busy responding to 3 fires across the city over the weekend. First call was shortly after 11 p.m. on Saturday when firefighters were called to a high-rise building in the 100 block of Donald Street. The blaze was quickly brought under control about 30 minutes later. 2 hours later, another call came in. This time, it was a garage in the 300 block of Riverton Avenue in Elmwood. In a media release, the city said no damage estimates were available at the scene on Sunday morning. CTV News found multiple vehicles were destroyed. One of the owners of a destroyed vehicle did not want to be identified, but told CTV News that a car with nitro fuel exploded and spread to the garage. The third fire was in a commercial building in the 100 block of Gary Street around 7:30 a.m. on Sunday. Fire was under control about 2 hours later. All 3 fires are under investigation and no injuries were reported. Disappointment and anger were 2 emotions most on display around Winnipeg's airport over the weekend.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Hate on you!
That was Leah Gazan, NDP MP for Winnipeg Centre, at the Air Canada flight attendants picket line on Saturday. It was shortly after Federal Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu's back-to-work order. On Sunday, the union representing Air Canada's flight attendants defied Ottawa's back-to-work order. Flight attendants continued to hold their picket line on Sunday.
No worker should go to work unpaid, right? And we know that, and that's what we're fighting for here. A fair collective bargaining process, and we're calling for fair wages, and we're calling for the unpaid work to be paid. And we know we don't expect any Canadian to go to work and not get paid for part of their shift.
McKay added that the members learned that they have the general public who are pulling and sharing their messages. A Winnipeg man is on the road to recovery after being attacked with a machete. While he works to resume his career in the arts, the incident has prompted questions about the availability of the edged weapons. CTV's Alex Carpa reports.
So here's my little studio area. It's a little messy.
Eric Laferriere is big into the arts. He is a DJ, producer, and is a tattoo artist on the side.
If it's art, I've probably done it one way or another.
But back in the fall of 2023, his life changed in a matter of seconds. He was randomly attacked by someone wielding a machete outside of his apartment.
Put my head down on my girlfriend's arm and picked my head up and realized her arm was covered in blood. And that's when I was like, why is my head bleeding? And looked down and my hand was all flapped open.
And it's been a long journey for LaFerriere. He still doesn't have 100% mobility on his left arm.
I had to relearn how to draw. They originally told me that I had 10% to get even 5% of my movement back.
There have been a string of machete attacks here in Winnipeg over the last few months. Most recently, 3 teens were charged after they attacked a 14-year-old boy with a machete at a city mall. But the question is, how did they get their hands on this weapon? In 2024, the Manitoba government introduced legislation to regulate the sale of long-bladed weapons like machetes. Criminologist Frank Cormier says while legislation is a good thing, there is still a lot of weapons around.
You could buy them in discount stores, hardware stores, just about anywhere, and they were quite cheap. And unfortunately, they are a very effective weapon. They are large and they are sharp.
As for LaFerriere, he is taking his recovery day by day.
It's a lot more mental healing now than it is physical, because this is the best it'll ever be.
In the meantime, LaFerriere says he will continue to work hard to revive his career in the arts. Alex Karpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
There is a growing call for justice this morning after an 8-year-old Toronto boy was fatally struck by a stray bullet while lying in his bed.
Just made me sick. There's too many innocent people being shot, and this has to end.
For a boy to be shot in their home right beside their mother, that's supposed to be the safest place that you can be.
Advocates and a city councillor are calling for solutions to address gun violence in the city after 8-year-old Javé Roy was killed. He was hit by the stray bullet around 12:30 Saturday morning. Police say someone opened fire from an area at the edge of the residential property, unsuccessfully hitting their target and instead hitting the window of a unit, killing the boy who was asleep next to his mom. Police are still appealing for witnesses. After nearly 4 months on the political sidelines, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is looking to regain a seat in the House of Commons today.
The reason he picked this specific riding, and that is the safest Conservative riding in the country.
Poilievre is running in the rural Alberta Conservative stronghold of Battle River Crowfoot after losing in his Ottawa area riding in April's federal election. The former MP, Damien Curic, stepped aside so Poilievre could run. Poilievre is one of 214 candidates on the ballot, a record-breaking number. And for the first time ever, voters will write down the name of their preferred candidate. Elections Canada says more than 14,000 people voted in advance polls. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will be at the White House today, along with key European leaders, meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump. The meeting comes after Trump's meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday. Trump left those talks without a deal, but hinted on social media that things were shifting. A U.S. official says Putin has agreed to the U.S. and Europe offering security guarantees to Ukraine that would reportedly resemble NATO's collective defense mandate. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mark Carney's office confirms he took part in a call with allies of Ukraine yesterday, welcoming both the leadership of Trump in building the opportunity to, quote, end Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. This next item may be a little hard to watch if you're scared of heights. High divers from 14 countries faced off performing daring jumps from an historic 17-meter bridge in Slovenia. 35 divers showcased their jumping styles and made a splash. Oof, a little scary for me, but here's a look at what's going on outside at Confusion Corner. Some spots making splashes there as well. There are puddles all over the city as we had quite a bit of rain. So be mindful of pedestrians when you head out in traffic today. Let's go now to Joseph Bernacki. We're learning all about beekeeping and the work that is involved with getting those bees' goodness to our bellies. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. Happy Monday. We're starting our week, as Rochelle mentioned, with B-Boys Winery and Meadery. This is an awesome local business here within the city of Winnipeg, and we're going to be talking all about the history of the production and how this business got started. Their honey production, I've got some honey right in front of me here, originally started in 2009, and it was first available for sale in 2018. Coming up throughout the show today, we're going to be talking about the mead that they make, which is a really tasty drink, some of the different products they have, of course, the stuff in front of me, and it's always great to support local, and we love to do that, of course, on our morning show. So we're going to be back in about half an hour's time with the owners, of course, of B-Boys, talking a little bit more about how they got started in the business, the beekeeping community around Manitoba, and so much more. So keep it locked on your CTV Morning Live.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Let's go out to the rooftop. Not any bees flying right now, Terry. It's wet out there.
It is wet out here. Now, it's not necessarily raining. I stepped outside. I was like, oh, I don't even need the umbrella. It's all just fog. And I know this isn't going to help for that. But then as I was standing here in the fog, getting damp anyway, I felt a drop. And I'm like, oh, I better put the umbrella up to protect me from all of the dampness. Yeah, certainly there's a lot of moisture out here, but most of it is just hanging in the air as fog, although plenty of it fell. Take a look at my rain gauge. Now, this is from the weekend, like basically all from Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I emptied it Friday morning after that bit of rain that we got in the morning, but that's all what we got, and it's just over 20 millimeters, so a good solid soaking from the weekend itself. We talked already about those slightly cooler temperatures. Well, now we're going to start to see them on the rise again, and actually fairly mild temperatures are expected through the week, or even hot temperatures. Not today. Today we're getting to a seasonal 24 degrees. This last bit of fog and drizzle, that will taper and then clear, and then even some sunshine expected for later on today. Western Manitoba will see the clearing first, as this whole system is going to be pushing further off to the east, but then plenty of sunshine tomorrow, even warmer temperatures. It's even going to get hot through the middle of the week, well above seasonal, and then dropping again. We've got another cool weekend ahead, so the heat will come midweek. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Weather brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful at 900 Lorimer Boulevard, featuring Hunter Douglas shades.
Morning. People in Thompson can breathe a little easier. The city says it's rescinding its evacuation pre-alert notice as of Friday. On its website, the city of Thompson says the decision is based on progress controlling nearby wildfires, favorable weather forecast for the next 2 weeks, and the multi-layered fire defense is now in place. It says the chances of a mandatory evacuation are now low, but notes the season still isn't over. The evacuation pre-alert was put in place a little over a month ago, and it meant residents should be prepared to leave within 12 hours notice if necessary. Meanwhile, Manitoba remains under a provincial state of emergency under the Emergency Measures Act due to a wildfire season that is now the worst one in the past 30 years. More than 1.75 million hectares of forest area have burned in the province to date. The provincial state of emergency is in place until August 22nd. A wildfire burning northwest of Halifax has forced people to evacuate from more than 100 homes over the weekend.
A few years before we left BC to here, we lost a house in a house fire.
The out-of-control Long Lake wildfire has nearly doubled in size. Officials with Annapolis County are encouraging people who have fled their homes to take advantage of shelter and food available free of charge. There are 15 active wildfires in Nova Scotia. One is out of control. There's now 39 active wildfires burning in New Brunswick. 8 of them are considered out of control, but no structures have burned. 7 firefighters have been treated for heat exhaustion. A province-wide fire ban is still in effect, and all Crown lands are closed. Meanwhile, in Newfoundland and Labrador, cooler temperatures and low winds have helped firefighters with their battle. And in BC, the city of Vernon has activated its local emergency operations center. Crews are fighting the Bolchers Creek wildfire, which is out of control. Tactical evacuations ordered earlier in the day are no longer in effect. The flames are about 8 kilometers south of Vernon. Meanwhile, on Vancouver Island, evacuation orders and alerts north of Nanaimo have been lifted as the Wesley Ridge fire is now under control. 2 people were injured after a boat caught fire on Lake Ontario near Toronto Sunday afternoon. This was the scene east of the city just after 3 p.m. A small boat caught fire and was engulfed in flames in the middle of the lake. The 2 people on board were rescued by first responders. Durham Regional Police say a teen boy was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and an adult male suffered minor injuries. There was no indication of what caused the fire. As the federal government looks to cut spending, a new survey suggests a majority of Canadians agree on where potential cuts should come from. A new poll from Léger finds more than half of people think the size of government should be reduced in the coming years. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
Guys, we're going to go look around the building. Visiting Parliament Hill from Vancouver prompted this tourist to reflect on the size of government. We've just been walking around this building, and I just wonder, do we really need all of this? You know, it just seems a lot for what we actually are doing. More than half of Canadians, 54%, think there should be cuts to the size and cost of the federal public service in the coming years, according to a new survey by Léger for the Canadian Taxpayers Federation.
I think what I found surprising was that there was a really strong sentiment about the size of the bureaucracy and the need to maybe make it smaller amongst that older generation, that 55 plus.
You have to cut in government. I'm pretty sure it's too big.
About a quarter want it to stay the same, and just 4% say it should grow. When asked about the quality of federal services since 2016, half think it has declined. 11% think it has improved.
10 years ago, I think government services was more efficient, streamlined.
I think Prime Minister Mark Carney can look at this poll and know that Canadians support him cutting the size and cost of government bureaucracy.
The Prime Minister has asked departments to find program spending cuts up to 15% by 2028-2029, while public sector unions have sounded the alarm about the impact to services. The survey didn't ask any questions about that.
Everyone wants an efficient government, including us, public servants. But cuts sounds great until you ask to the Canadians what service are they willing to lose.
Anyone who wants to weigh in ahead of the fall budget can do so in the government's pre-budget consultations. There's even an online questionnaire, and that stays open until August 28. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
More than 100,000 people in Puerto Rico are without power after Hurricane Erin blasted the island with high winds and heavy rain. The first hurricane of the Atlantic season didn't make landfall, but it generated swells that flooded roads and downed trees. Meanwhile, Hurricane Erin has re-intensified to a Category 4 storm this morning. The U.S. East Coast and Bermuda are expected to feel the storm's impact by tomorrow. British actor Terence Stamp has died at the age of 87.
For an actor who, you know, always wanted a long career, the crucial thing is to keep sort of reinventing yourself.
Stamp's film career began in 1962 when he earned an Oscar nomination for the film Billy Budd. He was likely best known for his role as the villain Zod in 1978's Superman and 1980's Superman 2. Taking a look now what's going on in traffic around Portage Avenue. It looks like things are starting off well over here. No issues to tell you about except all the puddles out on the streets.
CTV Morning Live Traffic brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
Yeah, not just puddles, though. We do have some heavy fog out there as well, as you can see, looking through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Visibility down to about 5 kilometers due to that fog this morning. And then, of course, the puddles, yes, as Rochelle mentioned, they're going to be everywhere. We got plenty of rain and even some places still seeing that light drizzle coming down. 16 degrees are temperatures themselves. They are above seasonal. 11 would be a normal low temperature, and you can see all through southern Manitoba, we're well above that. It's a little bit cooler over in Kenora at 13 degrees, but that seems to be the coolest temperature that we're seeing right now. Most of us are in almost mid to high teens, 17 degrees right now in the Morden Winkler area. For northern Manitoba, double digits all throughout. Yes, once again, the heavier clouds and a bit of precipitation. That's including northern Manitoba for everybody, really. Heavier clouds, a little bit of precipitation, and then eventually things will start pushing further to the east. The bulk of it we're still just dealing with some very light drizzle. Most of that rain is already moving across that eastern border, but there's still the possibility that we could be getting more of that as we continue on through the morning. As we watch the temperatures rise today, well, we're getting a little bit warmer than we perhaps were over the weekend. 20 degrees expected by midday today, up to 24 this afternoon. That is in fact normal for this time of year. Some high teens and low 20s expected across northern Manitoba, but it still heats up over the next couple of days. 27 Tuesday, up to 29 on Wednesday. Following that, some thunderstorms are expected on Thursday. This is Bennett and Theo looking oh so pretty. A couple of brothers out at Falcon Lake. Thanks to Shota for the photo. Keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca, and we'll see you right after this break.
Good morning. A Toronto high school teacher used his summer break to complete a major feat of endurance. He swam across the English Channel despite never attempting a distance swim before. CTV's John Musselman has this story.
Well, high school teacher Sam Garrison will have an incredible story to share with his students when he returns to the classroom next month. The Martin Grove Collegiate Institute math and history teacher successfully swam the English Channel on July 27th.
So it was pretty wild. I was never a serious swimmer before this.
Garrison took 3 years to prepare for it, doing laps in local pools and training in Lake Ontario. This summer, he made the plunge into the chilly channel waters.
One thing they say, like mentally, it's very around 7-8 hours is where people start to think about giving up. And so I just wrote on my arm, I just wrote in big letters, it's a kind of a phrase my coach always tells me, is just never give up.
He didn't, swimming in darkness with glow sticks attached to his body so he was visible to ships in the channel. Garrison was accompanied by a safety boat all the way, a grueling 36-kilometer swim from the port of Dover in England to just west of Calais in France. It took him 16 hours of nonstop swimming in cold water, fighting against strong currents and stinging jellyfish.
So the purple ones are the worst. Those those felt like getting a bunch of wasp stings all at once. And
the crew supplied him with food and water. He could not touch the boat the whole way over.
They can throw feeds to you, so pretty much everything is liquid, so like carbohydrate drinks, things like that, just to give you energy.
Garrison admits he had thoughts of giving up, and it was so hard on his body. But his sister is dealing with cancer treatment. She sent a message from home to the boat. He was able to read it when the crew showed him on a whiteboard from the boat.
It was a message that said, you know, we're both in our own marathons right now. And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm here in the water alone, but I'm not alone.
Garrison says the swim was a personal challenge. He also helped raise more than $9,000 for the Daily Bread Food Bank. When he landed on the beach in France, he couldn't believe he actually did it.
Just overcome with emotion and just collapsed on that beach, just thinking about everything along the way. Everything just hit me in that moment.
Garrison says he doesn't have any big plans to top this feat, but he has been overwhelmed by the support from family, friends, co-workers, and even strangers.
Like I'm being approached by people that I've never met before, and they're like, it's so heartwarming. They're saying, like, you know, you've inspired me to do something. You've inspired me, like, just to make some small change.
A swim of a lifetime and a life lesson he can share with his students in September. John Musselman, CTV News.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
All right, we are waking up to some heavy fog and a little bit of light drizzle out there still coming down. 16 degrees with very light winds, just 5 kilometers per hour out of the east-southeast. The pressure is falling, the humidity sitting at 100%, and visibility down to 5 kilometers due to that fog. Not much to show you here on the satellite image over Manitoba because the bulk of the activity is now pushed off to the east, but you can see through parts of northwestern Ontario still dealing with that rain, and it will be pretty steady for the next hour or so. Ours has tapered off considerably from what was falling overnight, but we do have a little bit of light drizzle and that heavy fog lingering, and we're still seeing some pockets of precipitation appearing. So Even though the bulk of this looks like it's moved on, it's not necessarily done just yet. 24 degrees. It will be done later on today. We're actually expecting both the fog to clear, the drizzle to end, and then the sun to make an appearance. 24 is seasonal, so exactly what you would expect for this time of year, and those winds remaining on the lighter side out of the southeast today. Light winds expected overnight as we drop to 16 degrees. Just a few clouds left lingering, and that'll set us up for all the sunshine tomorrow. A little more heat expected then too, up to 27 degrees. So a warmer day, and that's not all. Mother Nature's got another hot one waiting for us too. On Wednesday, we could hit 29 degrees, followed by some storms through Thursday. And after that, you'll see those temperatures dropping a little bit. A cool weekend ahead.
Thanks, Terry. A 13-year-old boy is dead after a shooting in northern Manitoba. RCMP say officers from its detachment in Cross Lake responded to a report of a shooting at a home in Pimicikamak, Cree Nation, late Saturday afternoon. Mounties say officers were advised that a 13-year-old had been shot and was transported to the community's nursing station where he was pronounced dead. Police have arrested a 17-year-old boy and seized a firearm. On the weekend, the Royal Aviation Museum had a visitor from the Winnipeg Police. Meet the Air One. It is an Airbus H-120 helicopter from the Flight Operations Unit of Winnipeg Police. The helicopter joined the service in 2011 and has been helping out search and rescue, surveillance, and emergency response. Flight crew from the unit were present at the museum to explain the helicopter.
We like to help them out by searching large areas for them that several cars might have to be assigned to. It might be something that we can look over for them in a matter of seconds or minutes.
Other two visiting aircraft over the summer were P-51 Mustang and Air Tractor AT-802. Recent drownings across the country are a tragic reminder of the importance of water safety. The family of two siblings who drowned in Dryden, Ontario at the end of July is advocating for more awareness and swimming lessons for young children. CTV's Alex Karpa on their plea.
They were really close. He loved his little sister.
July 30th, 2025 was a day Stacey Grant will never forget.
That phone call, I replay it in my head every day. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. It should never have happened.
15-year-old Caden Grant and his 12-year-old sister Jocelyn drowned in the Wabigoon River in Dryden, Ontario. Stepmother Heather Dodd says Jocelyn fell in first.
When she submerged, her brother, who also did not have very strong swimming skills, went in after her to try to rescue her. And unfortunately, he succumbed to the water as well.
Approximately 460 people fatally drown in Canada each year. This according to the Life Saving Society of Canada, and over 50 of those are children under the age of 14. To combat this, the family is launching a foundation called Water Wings. It's aimed at raising awareness about the importance of water safety for school-aged children. Grandfather Michael Williams is now petitioning Ontario Premier Doug Ford to bring swimming lessons back into the elementary school curriculum.
The problem is that it's being offered only as an opt-in basis, whereas I think it should be the other way around. It should be opt-out. So it should be a negative option. So schools have to do it unless they have a valid reason why they can't do it.
Heather says she will do anything she can to bring forth awareness.
You don't want to be in our position. You don't want to ever feel what we feel.
Stacey, Heather, and Michael are hoping their family's story will help prevent future tragedies so others won't have to go through the same grief they are currently experiencing. Alex Karpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will be at the White House today along with key European leaders, meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump. The meeting comes after Trump's meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday. Trump left those talks without a deal, but hinted on social media that things were shifting. A U.S. official says Putin has agreed to the U.S. and Europe offering security guarantees to Ukraine that would reportedly resemble NATO's collective defense mandate. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mark Carney's office confirms he took part in a call with allies of Ukraine yesterday, welcoming both the leadership of Trump in building the opportunity to, quote, end Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. It's been a difficult weekend in Spain due to wildfires burning out of control. The country and neighboring Portugal have seen scorching weather that's helped flames tear through dry woodland. Temperatures in some areas were approaching 45 degrees Celsius. Nearly 2,000 Spanish troops have gone on wildfire fighting duty as they wait for reinforcements from other European countries. Adson Park was filled with Filipino festivity as the Manitoba Filipino Street Festival was held at Maples Multiplex grounds over the weekend. Organizers said nonstop entertainment both inside and outside the stage were offered. A fireworks display, food vendors, and cultural displays were there. 9 cultural dances were offered on stage 1. Stage 2 offered live music of more than 10 artists starting at 10 a.m. both days. 20 food vendors were there to fill the hungry stomachs. For kids, bouncy castles were there for them to conquer. Winnipeg Jets, Blue Bombers, and Sea Bears were also present to join the community. Here's a look now what's going on in traffic along McPhillip Street. It looks like things are picking up over here slowly. Overall moving quite well. Lots of puddles out there and some fog to battle as well. Here's a look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.35, while the provincial average is slightly lower at $1.32. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.33. The lowest price in the city is $1.27. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by KidneyCard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Beekeeping is huge in this province. Joseph Bernacki is now going to introduce us to some beekeepers in Manitoba. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. If you're just joining us, always a pleasure to chat with Julie and Con Pasechnikov. They are the owners of B-Boys Honey and Meadery. Pleasure to have you guys on our show again.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Julie, for people tuning in this morning, if they've never heard of the great products you guys have and the hard work it takes to bring it all to the shelf, tell us a little bit about B-Boys Honey and Meadery.
Well, first of all, we're basically a honey apiary, so we produce beautiful, delicious Manitoba honey, and with that honey, we create all of our products. So first of all, we create, of course, liquid and creamed honey, as well as flavored honey varieties, which we have about 15 right now. We also are a winery, so we're a registered winery, and we create mead products, so we do several varieties of mead. And lately, what we started making was teas, so we steep high-quality loose-leaf teas, add a touch of honey, carbon and carb tanks, and they're delicious and healthy for you at only 50 calories a can. And then after that, we created mocktails because we were finding our customers were asking for that. So we created 4 varieties of mocktails. So it's the taste of alcohol at 0%.
And Con, talk to me a little bit about how you take the honey that we have in front of us here and you are able to use it for the mocktails. And I understand they're a fan favorite for our football team here.
I hope they are, but with our honey, we basically start, it's a yearly project. Basically, you got to keep the bees alive throughout the winter. Once they come out, we make sure we plan where we're going, taking to the crops. After that, our first harvest is around July 17th, and what we do is we extract the honey, put it in barrels, and then we use that honey, we bring it into our facility. We either make it into creamed honey and get it ready for the stores, or we use it in the carb tanks or our other tanks and use it to make our honey products.
And it might seem like a simple question for you guys, but tell us about these crates that we have right in front of you.
So these are beehives. This is typically our standard beehive that we use in North America. It's made up of 9 frames, and what the bees do is the bottom half of the hive is where the queen is, and that's where her nursery is, and she lays her eggs. The top hive is where basically the freezer for the bees, where they store their honey for the winter, and they create enough honey for themselves. We come along, we take it out, and they go, oh geez, we got to go fill it up again. So we fill it up again. We have one more harvest coming up, and we're starting that this weekend. So
certainly a busy summer, of course, for Julie and Con and many other beekeepers, of course, in the province. We'll be back in the 7 o'clock hour telling more about the history of their business and hopefully showcasing some bees, so stay tuned.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Let's go out to the rooftop now. The umbrella's been put away for now, Terry.
I've rolled it up, but I can still use it to point to my rain gauge. Oh, it's not even in the shot. Oh, there it is. I can point to my rain gauge. That's just over 20 millimeters of rain that fell. Now, that wasn't all yesterday. That was basically from Friday, which I think it still rained again Friday night, if I remember correctly. Weekend seems a bit of a blur, as they all tend to be. But we did see precipitation off and on, enough to amount to that by the time Monday morning rolls around. And now the drizzle has tapered off that I can roll up the umbrella. Every now and then I'll just feel a drop, but not enough to bother using this. But the heavy fog, that is certainly encompassing much of downtown. I can't even see the tops of the buildings just a couple of blocks away, as we are down to about 5 kilometers visibility. This fog will eventually burn off. The drizzle, whatever was left, is left. Will taper off, and we'll even likely see some clearing for later on today. So some increasing amounts of sunshine, not a whole lot of heat, but maybe warmer than the weekend as we get back to a seasonal 24 degrees today. And then Mother Nature cranks it up. We've still got some hot days ahead. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Looking at the early market futures are in the red this morning. The Dow is pointing to a 31-point drop at the open. NASDAQ is slipping nearly 18 points. S&P futures are down about 6. The Canadian dollar is seeing a slight decrease this morning. Overseas, the Hang Seng has dropped 93 points, while Japan's Nikkei is up 336 points. Good morning. It is 6:45. The family of a man who's missing and presumed dead is continuing its push for a national silver alert system.
It's important to have the public know as soon as possible when somebody is missing.
Earl Moberg's family was at Garden City Shopping Center Friday to provide information on their federal petition. The 81-year-old who had advanced dementia hasn't been seen since he went for a walk in December 2023. This spring, his family relaunched the online petition for an alert system which would send cell phone notifications when a vulnerable senior goes missing.
To the public that the person is actually in an emergency situation. So this would certainly help to do that.
Moberg's daughter says Manitoba and Alberta have silver alerts, but they don't send notifications to mobile devices. The petition is open for signatures across Canada until October 2nd. Advance voting began on Saturday in the Spruce Woods by-election. 3 candidates are vying for the seat in the Manitoba legislature. Ray Berthollet is running for the governing NDP. Stephen Reed is carrying the Liberal banner, and Colleen Robbins is hoping to keep the seat blue for the PCs. Berthollet is a former real estate agent who recently worked as an executive assistant to Cabinet Minister Glenn Simard. Reed is a teacher, and Robbins is a longtime Tory volunteer. The Spruce Woods local election office is open for voting up to and including Election Day, which is August 26th. You can also vote at the Glenborough Raystone Memorial Center until upcoming Saturday. A number of other locations will be open Tuesday. They're up on your screen there. And on Election Day, visit electionsmanitoba.ca for a ballot box near you. Be sure to bring a piece of government-issued photo ID or 2 other pieces of ID. Air Canada flight attendants remain defiant, standing on the picket line despite being ordered back to work by the federal government. The airline says roughly 940 flights have been cancelled during the work stoppage spurred on by the labor dispute. CTV's Jeremy Sharon takes a look at what this means for the two sides and the thousands of passengers left grounded.
United in defiance, workers picketing outside airports across the country. The union fighting back against a government order.
I'm expected to direct you to go back to work. I'm expected to end this strike.
CUPE says Air Canada flight attendants will keep striking, spurning a government decision Saturday to order binding arbitration and an end to the work stoppage.
Air Canada has really refused to bargain with us, and they refused to bargain with us because they knew this government would come in on their white horse and try and save the day. Well, these workers here said, no, that's not on. We're going to stay on strike.
In response, Air Canada has suspended plans to restart operations.
My concern, our entire company's concern, is our customers, particularly those that are stranded. We should be back in the air right now, but due to this illegal strike directive from CUPE to our flight attendants, we're still grounded and our customers are still facing disruption and uncertainty.
I came with my family here for a family vacation, and now we can't get home.
Many Canadians abroad stuck or left in limbo too.
This is Canada's air carrier, and, you know, Canadians want to come home. That's a good news story. So bring us home.
Kyla Kumar and her family were supposed to travel home from Portugal. Their flight was only canceled after we spoke.
So you're sort of hamstrung from any next step, because in order to qualify for rebooking, your flight needs to be canceled. But it's very clear that your flight is unlikely to be canceled until the 11th hour.
The union has pointed to wages and ground pay as key impasses in negotiations. Flight attendants aren't paid while a plane is grounded. Now, public opinion polling shows most Canadians side with flight attendants in this dispute. A survey from Abacus data this week also showed most would have preferred the government not stop workers from striking despite the travel delays. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
Residents of North Winnipeg's Shaughnessy Park neighborhood now have some new hoops for people to flex their basketball skills. Officials from federal, provincial, and municipal governments gathered at Northwood Community Centre on Burroughs Avenue to officially open the new basketball court. The project also unveiled new playground equipment, seating areas, asphalt pathways, and other park features.
This court and this playground will give our kids a safe space to run, laugh, and learn. For families, this is a welcoming place to gather, and for everyone, it's an affordable option, something that is so deeply needed in the inner city of Winnipeg.
A cherry on top for the court is a mural. It features the word welcome in 4 Indigenous languages to honor the land the court is on. The mural was painted in collaboration of local artist Jonato De Leon and students and alumni from Sisler High School. Here's a look at what's happening on the St. James Bridge. Fog is a factor this morning, as you can see here, affecting visibility. Also puddles all over the place. So please be mindful of cyclists and pedestrians.
Yeah, so with that fog, make sure you've got your lights turned on. And I'm not just talking the driving lights. I mean, manually turn your lights on. You know, you start the car, the lights come on, and you think, I'm good. But what happens is your back lights don't come on. And that's what you need to be visible in this fog, right? Only when you tap the brakes, then your brake lights will come on. But if you turn your lights on, that'll make sure that everyone can see you. Anyway, just a little safety tip for you out there in the fog. 16 degrees with east-southeast winds, 5 kilometers per hour. The pressure falling and the humidity sitting at 100%. Visibility, I've been saying, is down to 5 clicks right now. So that's why we need to make sure we're taking those necessary precautions. Not a lot left as far as the precipitation goes. The bulk of that has moved off to the east. Doesn't mean that we won't still see a little bit of light drizzle or that heavy fog lingering for the next few hours yet. For northern Manitoba, you're also likely to deal with a bit of a soggy start to your day. Heavy clouds, mid to high teens. Some might make it up into the 20-degree mark. It will be a little bit cooler today, though, across most of the province, in fact, although getting back, not as cool as it was over the weekend. Today, we're starting to see a return to those more seasonal temperatures. The low 20s expected throughout much of the northwest. Once we're moving into the south, you might actually have a little bit above seasonal temperatures. Places like Nipoa, Branding could get up to 26, when 24 is, in fact, normal for this time of year. That's where we're headed, those more seasonal temps, and waiting to see some of that sunshine, which might happen about midday and into the afternoon as these clouds begin to clear. That'll be after the fog burns off. Northwestern Ontario, though, things could still be a little more active for you with showers or even some possible thunderstorms throughout the day today. Still with the heat, it's coming yet. Tomorrow and Wednesday, temperatures will be getting hotter right ahead of some storms by Thursday.
Terry, let's check in now on the team at 103.1 Virgin Radio. Good morning. Happy Monday.
Good morning. A very happy Monday. Winnipeg is the place to be this week. We are, like, whoever is responsible for bringing all these things to Winnipeg, you've done just the most amazing job. Starting this week in Winnipeg, if you drive by, there's this big, huge field by, like, behind the Pan Am Clinic, Pan Am Pool. It's full of all these, like, hundreds and hundreds of targets because the World Youth Archery Championships are being held in Winnipeg this week. So literally hundreds and hundreds of the best I don't know what plural is for
archers, I think.
Archers.
Yeah. It's probably archers. Probably super easy, like archers. I went with archi, double I at the end. Not true. And then, okay, so that's going on. Then we're hosting the Canadian Pickleball Championships. Ooh. We're going to watch tomorrow. Yeah, pickleball. Like the best pickleballists from
I think it's just pickleballers. I think that's just
I'm trying to make things harder than they have to be. The best pickleballists from across Canada. Taylor Tennis Club. They're playing pickleball. Awesome. Love it. Okay. Then Friday night, you are all invited because we are hosting CEBL Championship Weekend. Sea Bears play on Friday night, Canada Life Center, with a chance to go to the final, the CEBL final, on Sunday. You can watch that game. outdoors, Graham Avenue. There's a big street party LTI will be hosting. That street party, the Plain Owl Street Festival, goes on all weekend. Go to Graham Avenue CEBL Championship Weekend. And again, Friday night, if you're not going to the game, come watch it outdoors, and there's like live music. There's a Third and Bird market on Saturday. It's just so well done. Just head to Graham Avenue Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it'll all work itself out. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be the place to be. All right, well, thanks, you guys. Have a good week. Well, do you get fed up with people walking too slow or hogging the sidewalk? Well, now one rising star on social media is trying to do something about it. He's building an online community of folks who can't stand poor sidewalk etiquette. Here's ABC's Danny New.
Part 65. A lifelong New Yorker fed up with what he refers to as bad walkers.
People are actually this unaware and slow. I think people go through it all the time, all around the world.
For the past few months, Matt Bass here has been picking up millions of views on TikTok.
An awful pace, huge width.
As he documents the people who do not seem to respect the hustle and bustle of America's biggest city. One commenter writing, "This account is so validating, LOL."
What? Oh, I didn't even plan that.
Oftentimes, people are glued to their phones.
Happy family with a chain link fence.
Matt will also come up with different names for walking formations.
We're 5 wide, not a care in the world, taking up the whole sidewalk.
Or just count how large a group is as they stroll side by side by side by side by side.
Have you tried saying excuse me?
I say excuse me all the time. The excuse me is often met with indifference.
Now his commenters have been suggesting different instruments to get people's attention with, such as a rubber chicken or a bell, which did not seem to work really at all.
Hey, I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
And while yes, as Dustin Hoffman showcased in Midnight Cowboy, New Yorkers may just always be in an unnecessary hurry, Matt says he hears from folks in rural areas too.
When they say, go to the grocery store, I can't get through an aisle, or, you know, you should see my Costco on Sunday. They're just taking up the whole sidewalk. The cross-body bag convention might be happening this weekend.
So up next, Matt now wants to take bad walkers on the road and visit the many cities his online community suggests are equally frustrating.
I know that there are other places with walking inefficiencies that need documenting.
Do you love wine and a little VIP luxury? Then this is for you. We're giving away a Champagne Lounge VIP experience to the Winnipeg Wine Festival each week. That's for you and 3 friends at the RBC Convention Center on September 26th and 27th. Enjoy exclusive wine tastings and support the Special Olympics while you're at it. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and enter the clue word taste. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back after this with more CTV Morning Live. Good morning. It is Monday, August 18th. You're watching CTV Morning Live, and it is 7 a.m. Thank you so much for being with us here on the show. Coming up a little later in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to tell you about a local francophone who has just written a brand new memoir. It is called Bit Player on Big Stages. We're going to introduce you to the author, Rajit Suren, a little later, but first your headlines. Machetes on the streets. A man's post-attack recovery raises questions about the proliferation of these weapons. More tariff talk. What economy-boosting measures Ontario's premier hopes to get from a meeting with the PM. And a family makes history at this year's running of Canada's most prestigious thoroughbred race. We have details on this and more. I'm bringing in Terry now. It was quite a soggy start to the day today. The streets are filled with puddles.
Yes, you're right about that. It was a good wash down, though. Yes. We will take it. It certainly helped with the situation up north regarding the fires, so there's some great news. Less great news is we can't see anything. That's a look outside right now. Visibility is poor, down to 5 kilometers or even less. 16 degrees. That fog is pretty thick. We've got very light winds out of the east-southeast, just 5 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 100%. The bulk of the actual precipitation has tapered off, moved off to the east. In fact, that's where you can see it right now on the satellite image. Still might see some bit of precipitation popping up, a little more developing through parts of the west. So still, that chance is there over the morning hours, certainly, and the fog, well, that's certainly going to be hanging around for the morning hours as well. Some parts of northern Manitoba, you're also going to be dealing with the rain. Eventually, the clearing will happen. The first to see the sunshine will be anyone off to the west of us. All along that western border, things clearing out nicely. We'll see more of that clearing into the afternoon and evening time as the clouds move on out. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, and that goes right across the entire province. You might still see a little bit of lingering precipitation moving through parts of the north. Temperatures will be on the rise. I know it was a little bit cooler over the weekend and even slightly below seasonal, but today we're getting back to normal with the temperatures, 24 being that seasonal daytime high. And then it just continues to heat up for another couple of days, up to 29 by Wednesday. Following that, some storms. And following that, temperatures dropping off, cooler weekend ahead. Thank you to Isabella for our art today, 7 years old. I love what you've done here, and we would love to see more of your art. So please keep it coming to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca.
Thank you, Terry. A Winnipeg man is on the road to recovery after being attacked with a machete. While he works to resume his career in the arts, the incident has prompted questions about the availability of the edged weapons. CTV's Alex Carpa reports.
So here's my little studio area. It's a little messy. But
Eric Laferriere is big into the arts. He is a DJ, producer, and is a tattoo artist on the side.
If it's art, I've probably done it one way or another.
But back in the fall of 2023, his life changed in a matter of seconds. He was randomly attacked by someone wielding a machete outside of his apartment.
Put my head down on my girlfriend's arm and picked my head up and realized her arm was covered in blood. And that's when I was like, why is my head bleeding? And looked down and my hand was all flapped open.
And it's been a long journey for Laferriere. He still doesn't have 100% mobility on his left arm.
I had to relearn how to draw. They originally told me that I had 10% to get even 5% of my movement back.
There have been a string of machete attacks here in Winnipeg over the last few months. Most recently, 3 teens were charged after they attacked a 14-year-old boy with a machete at a city mall. But the question is, how did they get their hands on this weapon? In 2024, the Manitoba government introduced legislation to regulate the sale of long-bladed weapons like machetes. Criminologist Frank Cormier says while legislation is a good thing, there's still a lot of weapons around.
You could buy them in discount stores, hardware stores, just about anywhere, and they were quite cheap. And unfortunately, they are a very effective weapon. They are large and they are sharp.
As for Laferriere, he is taking his recovery day by day.
It's a lot more mental healing now than it is physical, because this is the best it'll ever be.
In the meantime, Laferriere says he will continue to work hard to revive his career in the arts. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Fire crews were busy responding to 3 fires across the city over the weekend. First call was shortly after 11 p.m. on Saturday when firefighters were called to a high-rise building in the 100 block of Donald Street. The blaze was quickly brought under control about 30 minutes later. 2 hours later, another call came in. This time, it was a garage in the 300 block of Riverton Avenue in Elmwood. In a media release, City said no damage estimates were available. At the scene on Sunday morning, CTV News found multiple vehicles were destroyed. One of the owners of a destroyed vehicle did not want to be identified, but told CTV News that a car with nitro fuel exploded and spread to the garage. The third fire was in a commercial building in the 200 block of Gary Street around 7:30 a.m. on Sunday. Fire was under control about 2 hours after. All 3 fires are under investigation and no injuries were reported. People in Thompson can breathe a little easier. The city says it's rescinding its evacuation pre-alert notice as of Friday. On its website, the city said the decision is based on progress controlling nearby wildfires, favorable weather forecasts for the next 2 weeks, and the multi-layered fire defenses now in place. It says the chances of a mandatory evacuation are now low, but notes the season still isn't over. The evacuation pre-alert was put in place a little over a month ago, and it meant residents should be prepared to leave within 12 hours notice if necessary. Meanwhile, Manitoba remains under a provincial state of emergency under the Emergency Measures Act due to a wildfire season that is now the worst one in the past 30 years. More than 1.75 million hectares of forest area have burned in the province to date. The provincial state of emergency is in place until August 22nd. A wildfire burning northwest of Halifax has forced people to evacuate from more than 100 homes over the weekend.
A few years before we left BC to here, we lost a house in a house fire.
The out-of-control Long Lake wildfire has nearly doubled in size. Officials with Annapolis County are encouraging people who have fled their homes to take advantage of shelter and food available free of charge. There are 15 active wildfires in Nova Scotia. One is out of control. There's now 39 active wildfires burning in New Brunswick. 8 of them are considered out of control, but no structures have burned. 7 firefighters have been treated for heat exhaustion. A province-wide fire ban is still in effect, and all Crown lands are closed. Meanwhile, in Newfoundland and Labrador, cooler temperatures and low winds have helped firefighters with their battle. And in BC, the city of Vernon has activated its local emergency operations center. Crews are fighting the Boltres Creek wildfire, which is out of control. Tactical evacuations ordered earlier in the day are no longer in effect. The flames are about 8 kilometers south of Vernon. Meanwhile, on Vancouver Island, evacuation orders and alerts north of Nanaimo have been lifted as the Wesley Ridge fire is now under control. Ontario Premier Doug Ford is in Ottawa this morning. He's meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney, urging him to make tax cuts.
They were campaigning. The prime ministers talked about tax breaks. Now, I think we've seen some of those come through already. I think Ford is kind of putting this ask in kind of before it's too late. And again, as a way of stimulating the economy.
Ford is calling the meeting a heart-to-heart, saying Carney is doing a good job. Ford says in the face of the American tariffs, Canada needs to do what it can to create an environment that will attract businesses and encourage growth. He has suggested that the PM match U.S. tariffs dollar for dollar, something Carney has refused to do so far. Ford is also calling on the Bank of Canada to lower its key interest rate. The death toll from flooding in Pakistan has now topped 270 after torrential rains triggered more flash flooding in 2 villages. Pakistan's government says an early warning system was in place in the country's northwest, but the downpour was so intense that residents could not get out in time. Dozens of people are still reported missing, with rescue crews continuing to comb the rubble for survivors. 3-year-old Colt Machete came out on top at the King's Plate.
Man City coming down to the wire. What a get to wire winner. Man City and Pietro Morin win.
20-year-old jockey Pietro Morin rode Machete to victory, competing against his dad. They are the first father and son jockey duo to race in the King's Plate, which is held yearly at Woodbine Racetrack near Toronto. So cool. All right, taking a look now at what's going on in traffic along the Norwood Bridge. Visibility is down. As you can see, there's heavy fog hovering over our city right now, so please be mindful of that when you head out this morning. Let's go down to Joseph Bernacki. We're talking about beekeeping and the business of raising bees, really. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, if you're just joining us, we've been having some great conversations so far with Bee Boys Honey and Meadery, a great local business. We love, of course, to support local businesses and supporting Manitoba. On our show, we've been having conversations with, of course, Julie and Con Pasechnikov. They are the owners of Bee Boys Honey and Meadery. Coming up in about 20 minutes' time, we're going to talk about how they got this honey started way back in 2009 and where it is to today, 16 years later. Of course, a number of their different products, including mead, which is one of the oldest beverages actually in the world. It's a pretty cool history behind it. We're going to speak to their mead maker hopefully later on in the show. Hopefully see some bees as well, as if Mother Nature cooperates with us this morning. It's still kind of misting outside here in the south part of the city, but always great to support local, and we'll be back coming up shortly on CTV Morning Live.
Thank you, Joseph. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It is a very humid day, foggy, and it's raining again.
Well, it's misty, as Joseph mentioned. That's the case here in the downtown area as well. I stepped outside. I was like, oh, I don't need an umbrella. It's just fog. And then as I was standing here, I'm like, no, I'm getting wet. There's a little bit of light mist that's falling, so it'll help with that. I mean, just the overall humidity, no. don't spend much time on the hair today. It's honestly not worth it. 16 degrees with a southeast wind that's 8 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising. The humidity sitting at 100%. Still can't see the tops of the buildings in the downtown area, just a couple blocks away. That visibility is poor this morning. So just keep that in mind for your commute as well. Not to mention all of the puddles that you're going to be driving through. Plenty of them formed over, well, I was going to say over the course of the morning. But take a look at this. This is my rain gauge. Now, this is from Friday. Whoops, where do I need to hold it here? Look at that. Just over 20 millimeters. That's a lot of rain that we got over the weekend itself. So, nice bit of saturation. We needed it. We'll take it. Now we're going to get some hot weather. So today we're back to seasonal temperatures. The fog will burn off. The drizzle will end. The sky will eventually clear. The sun will make an appearance, and with it, 24 degrees is where we're headed today. But then it gets even hotter tomorrow, Wednesday. Temperatures will be on the rise, so a couple of hot days ahead, and then probably some storms before we see these temperatures settle down for the weekend.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
Let's check in now on our question of the day. We want to know what song always gets stuck in your head and you secretly love it. Our question of the day has moved from Twitter, so now we want you to text your answer along with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we could feature your responses. At CTV Morning Live, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, whether they're furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions are amazing. We want more, whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals. Send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to petoftheweek@ctv.ca, and then catch us every Thursday between 6 and 9 to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on CTV Morning Live. Here's what's happening out on the streets right now at Notre Dame Avenue. Looks like things are moving well. Just foggy out there. We'll be back after this break. Good morning. It is 7:15. Hundreds of Manitobans are still in the dark because wildfires have damaged power lines.
Up until this point, since this wildfire season began, we've had about 1,200 poles that have been damaged or destroyed in need of some kind of repair or replacement. At this point, our crews have repaired about 500 of them, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
That's Manitoba Hydro spokesperson Peter Chura, who says it's particularly difficult to make repairs in the far north, given how remote it is and the fact some areas are still on fire. He adds it's difficult to say when power is going to be restored, as crews sometimes don't know the scale of the damage until they arrive. On top of all that, Chura says Hydro is trying to proactively ensure its infrastructure isn't going to be damaged in the future.
Vegetation management going on. We're clearing brush and trees away from our power lines and our facilities. We have large sprinkler systems that we use to soak down larger facilities, substations, generating stations. And we're putting a lot of effort into fire mesh wrapping. So this is a kind of mesh that we wrap around the bottoms of wooden poles that when it's exposed to heat, it expands and becomes a fire-resistant layer.
Chura said Friday that some 1,300 customers were without power due to wildfire damage. China has filed a complaint with the World Trade Organization over Canada's steel import restrictions. Last month, Ottawa announced an additional 25% tariff on steel imports containing steel melted and poured in China. On Friday, Beijing called the policy discriminatory, saying it disregarded WTO rules. This comes as Beijing has imposed new temporary duties on Canadian canola and other imports. Analysts have said those charges are likely a response to Canada's tariff on Chinese-made electric vehicles. 6 weeks after Quebec's July 1st moving day, hundreds of households in Montreal still haven't secured a home.
That you don't have the credit history, that you don't have the references, that you don't have employment, that you're a recent immigrant, that you're not white. Just having one of those things against you will really harm your chances of finding housing.
Advocates say those struggling the most include single parents, newcomers, and low-income tenants. Among them is a 22-year-old single mother identified as Kim to protect her identity. She's been living in a friend's apartment with her 1-year-old son since July. Kim came to Canada from Cameroon 4 years ago to study, but says her situation changed dramatically when she lost her job. According to the Montreal Municipal Housing Office, there are 216 families who remain unhoused since July the 1st, and across the province, more than 1,700 households are without housing after moving day. Here's a look now what's happening along Osborne Street. Things are stacking up over here, but overall moving quite well. If you have any traffic tips to share with us, please go to our X page.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
It's time now for some entertainment news. We're getting another sneak peek at something wickedly good. IMAX shared more behind the scenes of the upcoming Wicked for Good. We're getting a bit more of Oz with sit-down interviews with both Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. The second installment of the film will be out November 21st. This trio is up to no good again.
It's not adding up. We found 3 of the richest people in the world sniffing around a murder scene.
Only Murders in the Building is coming back for a 5th season. Selena Gomez, Martin Short, and Steve Martin uncover a web of dangerous secrets after the death of their doorman. It premieres September the 9th. This new film will leave you swiping right.
Maybe I should stop being shocked by success after the past few months we've had.
It's pretty all-consuming. You know, we're together all the time.
This is the trailer for Swiped. It stars Lily James, who plays Bumble founder Whitney Wolfe Herd. The movie is loosely based on her life and the creation of the online dating app. You can begin watching it September 19th. And your Monday Blues with American Ninja Warrior at 7, followed by The Rainmaker at 9, and E-Talk wrapping up the night at 10:30. It's all right here on CTV. If you love great food and great football, this is something you won't want to miss. Exceldor is serving up the ultimate game day package, a delicious chicken mix pack to enjoy at home, fun, merchandise, and 2 tickets to see the Bombers take the field on September 6th. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and enter the clue word chicken. Good luck. I was going to say bless you, Terry.
Thank you. I still feel like there's one in there.
Uh-oh.
We don't know when it's going to come.
We're getting ready.
I'm usually a 2 sneezer. So yeah, wait for it, team.
Oh no.
Get your rain ponchos out. Actually, you might need to do that anyway if you plan on stepping outside today. I did need the umbrella just when I was on the rooftop 10 minutes ago. Just enough of that like mist that's coming down that you're going to find yourself getting a little bit soaked if you're spending any time outdoors. And you can certainly see the fog as we look now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. So the fog has got us down to about 5 kilometers visibility. I've been reminding drivers just to turn your lights on and to manually turn them on. I know a lot of people are like, my lights, come on. Not the back ones, and those are the ones that are going to help you be seen out there. As far as temperatures go, we're seasonal or above. In fact, most of us are well above. With 11 being a normal low temperature, most of us are starting out in the mid-teens right now, and that includes much of northern Manitoba, who's at least in the double digits or mid-teens. Heavier clouds, though, across the entire province, and many of us still dealing with the lingering bits of precipitation. The bulk of the activity has pushed off to the east, northwestern Ontario. Still some showers or maybe some thunderstorms for you, in fact. A look at how the temperatures rise today. I know it was a little bit cool over the weekend, but today temperatures are actually getting back to what is normal for this time of year. So noontime, I've stopped it here, mid to high teens across the north, low 20s here in the south. We'll tack another few degrees on into the afternoon, topping out at a very seasonal 24 degrees. But tomorrow and Wednesday, even hotter yet, 27, 29 degrees. So Mother Nature's still cranking things up a little bit, and that's right ahead of some possible storms on Thursday before it will cool down for the weekend. A couple of bros just out at the lake over the weekend. Thanks to Shona for the photo. This is Bennett and Theo looking oh so handsome. Beautiful. Keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. Now to a province reaping the rewards of a pop song. It's been weeks since American star Chappell Roan released a song with Saskatchewan in the lyrics. Since then, it has influenced tourism campaigns and sparked interactions on social media. CTV's Alison Bamford has more on the international attention.
I'm moving to Saskatchewan.
These 4 words in a breakup ballad put Saskatchewan on the map.
This is the kind of thing that you'd have to spend millions of dollars to be able to create this kind of awareness.
American pop singer Chappell Roan released her latest single, The Subway, late last month, prompting a spike in Google searches with the word Saskatchewan.
It's an opportunity to be playful and just have a good time and not take ourselves too seriously, and we love opportunities like that.
Tourism groups are leveraging the spotlight with their own campaigns, and the buzz even made its way into one of Jimmy Fallon's late-night talk show bits.
Chappell Roan's new song, The Subway, has sparked a tourism boom in Saskatchewan.
Travel marketing experts say it's not uncommon for pop culture to influence tourist destinations.
The performing arts, they have an emotional connect with us. And travel is a very emotional thing, right? When you think about the reasons why, especially for leisure travel, why you go pick certain destinations over others, it's because you have some type of connection that you feel.
As for the Pink Pony Club singer's connection to the lyric,
it rhymed.
She shared her feelings towards the province in a recent interview with Apple Music's Zane Lowe.
I've never been there, but I promise I will perform there one day.
I don't know that I could afford Chappell Roan tickets in this economy, but I sure would have to figure out a way to do that because that sounds awesome.
Hype around one potential concert that could lead to many more visitors exploring the province. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Hello, Wesley Chang here in the Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Sunday, and it's a catch of the year candidate from the Rays and Giants game. Yandy Diaz drives one to right center, but Jung Hoo Lee sliding, bobbles the catch, but then traps the ball between his knees for the out. Amazing play. That ball easily could have dropped Alanza Lee's left leg, and Lee, no stranger to good defense. He won 5 straight Golden Glove awards in South Korea before joining the Giants last season. His circus catch helped San Francisco snap a 7-game losing skid and earn the must-see moment for Sunday. Tonight on TSN, the second week of the NFL preseason wraps up with the Bengals taking on the Commanders. Kickoff goes at 7 p.m. Central. That's all from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a great day.
TSN Must See Moments brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, your Hunter Douglas shade provider for over 40 years.
Bees are such great pollinators, but they also provide humans with such sweet treats. And Joseph Bernacki, you're going to tell us more about that. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. I sure are. I'm surrounded by sweet treats here in the store. I'm very pleased to be joined by Julie Pasechnikov again. Julie, talk to us a little bit about the country store that we're standing in.
So this is our little country store that was born during COVID. We put this in place as we were growing, and we needed a place to be able to serve our customers. So it gives us a nice homey sort of experience that's very personalized and friendly.
It's always awesome getting a chance to talk about history, especially with local business owners. Tell us how you guys got started way back around 2008, 2009, and what got you interested in beekeeping?
Yes, my husband was always interested in beekeeping, as his father was a beekeeping hobbyist in Venezuela, and then both here and in Canada as well. So what had actually happened was sort of a bittersweet story. My father-in-law was approximately 85 at the time, and he said to my husband, I want to get back into beekeeping because we were market gardeners and had gotten out of it for some time. So we had ordered some bees, and we were waiting for them to come in, and unfortunately my father-in-law passed away. So the next day my husband received the phone call that the bees were in, and he said, what do I do? And I said to him, we go forward. So my mom, who has also passed away since, said, I think we need to help him and get him going. So we got him a new bee suit and all the equipment that was necessary, and that's how it was born and started. So to this day with Bee Boys, we've grown so much, and it means a lot to us now, the legacy of my father-in-law, because if it wasn't for him and introducing my husband to bees, we wouldn't have come to fruition.
Pretty cool to see you kept the family dream alive. Give me a quick word in this segment. Talk to us about, you're able to create seasonal products that are only here for a few weeks at a time, but it's always nice to see something new, right?
Absolutely. What's interesting about craft, and that's with anything that's craft, is you can do small batches of different things that you try on your customers and see what they like, and then you can bring it back as a permanent, or you you can keep it as a seasonal. So for us, for our carbonated craft needs here, we do seasonal ones for Christmas. We have a winter cranberry for Christmas. For fall, we do a pumpkin. That's Let's Give Them Pumpkin to Talk About. And we also have summer seasonals. We do Small Town, which is a nice hopped mead. So, and also our pink lemonade, which is our new one for this summer.
Always great to chat with you, Julie. We're going to be back in just a few minutes' time with B-Boys at 7:42. Stay tuned.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you, Joseph. And today's sort of a mixed bag, right? We're going to start with rain and things are going to clear up a little bit.
Yeah, it may not start that great, but I think it's going to have a pretty nice ending to it. Right now, we still have that heavy fog hanging over us and a little bit of light drizzle or mist coming down. 16 degrees is where we begin, which is above seasonal, so a mild start to your morning. And the winds are light. They're out of the southeast, just 8 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising. The humidity is sitting at 100%. So yeah, foggy, misty, drizzly, all of that to kick off your morning. There you can see just a little bit off to the east. That's where the bulk of the activity is. And you can even see a few lightning bolts firing off there just a little bit west of Dryden, a little bit east of Kenora. Things are far more active, but doesn't mean that we're not going to see anything like that. The possibility still of some drizzle or mist through the morning hours, but then clearing into the afternoon, things should be looking a little bit better and brighter. 24 degrees is where we're headed today, which is a seasonal daytime high. That's coming off some slightly cool and below seasonal temperatures that we experienced over the weekend, and is only going to get hotter in the next couple of days. 16 is our expected low temperature tonight, with those clouds continuously clearing out and winds remaining light. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, 27 degrees. But wait, there's more. Mother Nature cranking it up yet. 29 degrees expected on Wednesday. And then some storms on Thursday. Following that, temperatures will be cooling and settling below seasonal for the coming weekend.
Thanks, Terry. Advanced voting began on Saturday in the Spruce Woods by-election. 3 candidates are vying for the seat in the Manitoba legislature. Ray Berthollet is running for the governing NDP. Stephen Reed is carrying the Liberal banner. And Colleen Robbins is hoping to keep the seat blue for the PCs. Berthollet is a former real estate agent who recently worked as an executive assistant to Cabinet Minister Glenn Simard. Reed is a teacher, and Robbins is a longtime Tory volunteer. The Spruce Woods local election office is open for voting up to and including Election Day, which is August 26th. You can also vote at the Glenborough Raystone Memorial Center until upcoming Saturday. A number of other locations will be open Tuesday. They're up on your screen there. And on Election Day, visit electionsmanitoba.ca for a ballot box near you. Be sure to bring a piece of government-issued photo ID or 2 other pieces of ID. Despite being ordered back to work, Air Canada flight attendants remain on the picket lines today, bringing flights to a standstill and leaving thousands of travelers stranded.
As long as these workers are staying strong, there's absolutely nothing that they can do about it. Our message from these members today, you heard them if you were here, it was clear that they support not going to work, that they are going to resist.
The airline's flight attendants first walked off the job early Saturday morning, resulting in the cancellation of 700 daily flights. By Saturday afternoon, Federal Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu had ordered them back to work, extending the union's prior collective agreement. But the union fought back, challenging the back-to-work order, saying it's committed to getting back to the table and wants Air Canada to negotiate a fair deal.
My concern, our entire company's concern, is our customers, particularly those that are stranded. We should be back in the air right now, but due to this illegal strike directive from CUPE to our flight attendants, we're still grounded and our customers are still facing disruption and uncertainty.
The airline had initially planned to resume flights yesterday, but it has now pushed that to this evening, canceling hundreds of more flights. Even still, it gave no indication as to how it plans to resume operations should flight attendants remain off the job. And as time goes on, more flights are getting scrapped, leaving travelers with little options.
You're sort of hamstrung from any next step, because in order to qualify for rebooking, your flight needs to be canceled. But it's very clear that your flight is unlikely to be canceled until the 11th hour.
I came with my family here for a family vacation, and now we can't get home.
Air Canada will offer those with canceled flights a refund or credit for future travel. The carrier is also responsible for rebooking customers on other carriers. The two sides are expected to get back to the bargaining table at some point this week, with wages and ground pay still the key issues. Right now, flight attendants are only paid when the plane is in the air. A wildfire burning northwest of Halifax has forced people to evacuate from more than 100 homes over the weekend.
A few years before we left BC to here, we lost a house in a house fire.
The out-of-control Long Lake wildfire has nearly doubled in size. Officials with Annapolis County are encouraging people who have fled their homes to take advantage of shelter and food available free of charge. There are 15 active wildfires in Nova Scotia. One is out of control. Adsum Park was filled with Filipino festivity as the Manitoba Filipino Street Festival was held at Maples Multiplex grounds over the weekend. Organizers said non-stop entertainment both inside and outside the stage were offered. A fireworks display, food vendors, and cultural displays were there. 9 cultural dances were offered on Stage 1. Stage 2 offered live music of more than 10 artists starting at 10 a.m. both days. 20 food vendors were there to fill the hungry stomachs. For kids, bouncy castles were there for them to conquer. Winnipeg Jets, Blue Bombers, and Sea Bears were also present to join the community. Here's a look now what's happening along Portage at Polo Park. It is moving well. It is foggy, so visibility is definitely a factor on your morning drive today. Now let's take a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.35, while the provincial average is lower at $1.32. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.33. The lowest price in the city is $1.27. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Right now, we are sitting under foggy conditions, and it is 16 degrees. Stay with us. More CTV Morning Live on the way.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Here's a look outside. It's 17 degrees now. A little bit of fog still hanging over the city. East-northeast winds are 5 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising. That humidity is high, sitting at 100%. So it's a little bit foggy, a little bit misty. The bulk of the activity as far as precipitation goes has pushed off to the east, and you can see some of the thunderstorms firing off just a little bit west of Dryden, making its way toward Dryden. And it doesn't look like there's much going on here, but that fog still blanketing much of, well, southern Manitoba really, but northern Manitoba conditions are pretty much the same for you, with the heavier clouds and the light drizzle or rain falling. Temperatures today, though, mid to high teens. Some might even get up into that 20-degree range over into the northwest. We're looking at pretty seasonal temperatures, and this part of the province might start to see some sunshine later on today. Anybody along that western border will be the first to see the clearing as this entire system is going to eventually push off to the east. With that sunshine making an appearance, low to mid 20s. 26 degrees, that's even slightly above seasonal. Neepawa, Brandon will end up there today. 24 is in fact normal for this time of year. That's likely where we'll end up later on today here in Winnipeg and much of the southeast. And yes, we too might see some clearing later on into the day. The fog first has to burn off and that little bit of light drizzle tapering off. But then things should be looking brighter later into the day, whereas northwestern Ontario might see this hanging around a little bit longer throughout the day. After today, things still heat up. We've got tomorrow and Wednesday with the mercury on the rise. Mid-20s still expected on Thursday with some storms. And then we're going to see the mercury settling down and cooler temperatures are expected for the weekend.
Thank you, Terry. We're talking about beekeeping now with our Joseph Bernacki, who's live in Oak Bluff this morning. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, talk about that fog this morning. Con, we have quite a bit of it behind us here. Pleasure to have you on our show again. Talk to us a little bit about these bee boxes beside us. How much honey do you hope to generate just from one box?
So for next year, we're hoping these are going to be new hives. For one box should make us about 200 pounds of honey, roughly 100 and something kilos for first harvest. That's our benchmark, so anywhere between 180 and 200 is our target.
If people have never had a chance to see one of these before, talk to me about the structure. You were just telling me before we were live about how a bee system works.
Well, it's actually a well-run factory. You have the queen that's basically lays the eggs, makes their workers. You have the nurse bees that look after the eggs and that cover them up, keep them warm. And then you have your guard bees. Basically, they guard the hive once you open them up, and they send out a smell, send an alarm system. And then you have your scout bees that are flying out, finding the products, and then coming back and telling the hive, hey, listen, I found some sunflowers here, I found some canola there. and basically tells them to go there and harvest the nectar from the plants. You also have your drones, who basically don't do anything. They just lay around and eat. And then, yeah, you also have your maintenance workers, which are your HVAC workers, that they'll pump air from outside to dry, to dehydrate the honey, to keep the moisture away from it. And then they'll also seal it. So bees actually bring a lot of good products to ourselves, and a natural bacteria. They'll use a propolis and they'll seal the body, the box itself, and make an insulation. So there's your maintenance workers.
Absolutely, and we wanted to talk about the beekeeping community around Manitoba. Do you get a sense how many people are doing this at various scales in the province?
Anywhere from a hobbyist, from maybe one hive, to a really big commercial beekeeper who's in the Parkland region. He runs about 5,000 hives. So there's a large number across the province. Yeah, there's quite a bit of beekeepers out there.
And we know it's been a trying season for farmers all across the province based on precipitation. We've had a lot over the last couple of weeks, but what's the smoke been like for these? Give me a quick word.
It's been a learning curve for us. The smoke last year affected us a lot of ways with the smoke and the dryness, but this year for some reason it did suppress them. The best way to describe it is like a plane flying through clouds like this. Your radar doesn't. You rely on your radar, and if you can't see the ground, the bees really can't find their pollinators or their products. But this year wasn't too bad for us. We're optimistic that we're still going to do pretty good with our harvest.
Always a pleasure to chat with you, Con. We'll be back in the 8 o'clock hour with more from Bee Boys, Honey and Meadery. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Joseph. A BC man is running across the country doing an ultra marathon a day in the hopes of raising $1 million for mental health services. CTV's Kimberly Johnson has the story.
Sachin Laddie says running saved his life.
I was struggling a great deal about 5 years ago with my mental health. Ended up having a major depressive episode, so it all kind of came to a head.
The former border service agent from BC says by running, he was able to find purpose.
Running for me is community connection and movement. So I'm moving, I get to connect with people, and I get to create a community around me.
Now he's running across the country, aiming to raise awareness and $1 million for mental health initiatives. The journey from BC to Newfoundland is done by running an ultra marathon a day. That's 50 kilometers every day.
I think the mental health crisis that Canadians are feeling right now is an existential crisis. So I think it's extremely important that we talk about it, that we do something about it, and that we engage community with it.
According to Statistics Canada, nearly 1 in 5 people over the age of 15 experience mental health issues.
Getting them to be active helps them with school, helps them with relationship.
On Sunday, Laddie was joined by youth and members of the Ottawa Police Service running 5 kilometers in the nation's capital. Randy Gill is with Their Opportunity. It's one of the charities Laddie is raising money for, which creates programs for underserviced youth to join athletic programs.
It's important for us to get the word out how important physical health and well-being is as much as mental health and well-being. It's connected.
Ottawa Police Deputy Chief Paul Burnett says this advocacy work is vital for first responders.
We're running towards danger when others are running away. So managing that on a daily basis can be a struggle for our members.
63 days in, the journey leaving an impression.
It's truly inspiring.
To be honest, I could never do that, but to have somebody who cares so much about others' mental health, it's great to see.
The entire journey is expected to take a little more than 80 days.
People are struggling every single day. This is super important, and we're not stopping.
Kimberly Johnson, CTV News.
It's time for Let's Celebrate. Let's see who's having a celebration today. Happy birthday, Michael. Love from your family. Happy birthday, Ariel. Love from Grandma, Mom, Katie, Haven, Gloria, and Dad. Happy first birthday, Adeline. Love Grandma and Papa. Happy 59th birthday, Wendy. Have a fun day. Love from Larry, Terrence, Joe, and Julie. And a happy 85th birthday to Pauline, with love from your friends in Calgary. If someone you care about is having a birthday, anniversary, retirement, or graduation, let's celebrate. To submit your celebration, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Let's Celebrate, brought to you by Party Stuff, 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca. CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Just rolling up my umbrella again because I stepped outside and I do not need it. I've said that before. But here's the thing. We've got the heavier fog. It's still hanging around. I'm not feeling that precipitation as I was earlier this morning when there was kind of more of a misty drizzle. Right now, still plenty of fog, but not so much that I'm needing the umbrella at this point. 17 degrees, so a mild start to the morning when you compare that to a seasonal low of 11, and the winds are light out of the east-northeast, just 5 kilometers per hour. Humidity, well, is still up there at 100% this morning, and this fog visibility is poor this morning. So I've been saying for your driving commute, keep those lights on and be on the watch, I suppose, for pedestrians too. There's plenty of puddles out there and you don't want to be the one. You don't want to be that person. Anyway, the chance of some precipitation is still there today, but most likely to see this fog tapering or the drizzle tapering, the fog clearing, and some sunshine to make its way later today.
Thank you, Terry. An Ottawa woman who is visually impaired alleges she's being denied Uber rides again and again because of her service dog. She says she's missed medical appointments, been left stranded, and sometimes has to leave her dog at home just to catch a ride. CTV's Caitlin Wilson has more.
Protected by law. It's a familiar and frustrating situation for Salome Solomon. The Uber arrives, then drives away.
He's like, I'm sorry, I don't accept pets. I was like, he's not a pet, he's a guide dog. He's protected by law.
Salome is visually impaired and needs a guide dog to get around safely. But this isn't the first time she's been left at the curb.
I am denied at least one time every time I order an Uber.
She relies on her guide dog, Oliver Zurich, trained through the Lions Foundation of Canada for daily independence. And by law, service animals must be accepted by transportation providers, including rideshare drivers. But Salome says what's written in law doesn't match what happens in real life.
Every time I'm denied access, it's like a dagger in the heart, to be honest. It's like a reminder that, like, you're not normal, like, you're not one of us.
Uber's own website states drivers must accept riders with service dogs, adding in a statement, discrimination of any kind is unacceptable on the Uber platform. When signing up, drivers agree to transport service animals and operate in compliance with all laws.
I've missed so many medical appointments that I had to pay for. There are times I'm like, I'm not coming out of my house. What's the point?
The company says riders should report denials immediately, and drivers who knowingly discriminate may be permanently removed from the platform. But Salome says enforcement feels non-existent.
I've written to Uber many times. I'm like, can I speak to somebody higher instead of a robot? Then they call you at a weird number, and then they say, oh, we're very sorry this happens. Here's $2 off the ride.
In one case, she says a driver sped off so fast he nearly hit her and her dog. And until something changes, she says she won't stay quiet.
Disability is dignity, and it's not for sale. It doesn't have a price tag on it. It's sure as hell is not worth $2.
Caitlin Wilson, CTV News.
Ottawa is pouring millions of dollars into research to help fight wildfires. The funding supports everything from cutting-edge science to ancient Indigenous practices. CTV's Kathy Lee has the details.
More than 7 million hectares burned nationwide. The wildfire season shows no sign of slowing down as flames continue to sweep across the landscape.
We know that a warming climate means more fire.
The federal government announcing this week $46 million in funding for 30 research projects to manage and mitigate wildfires.
By accelerating how we develop and adopt innovative and adaptive wildfire and forestry practices.
One of those projects focuses on how communities in BC manage their surrounding forests.
To run computer models and to help them assess, have we done enough? And how good a job, how could we improve into the future?
10 of the projects Indigenous-led, including program funding for the Blood Tribe in Alberta that utilizes ancient cultural burning practices.
Utilizing fire has been one management technique that has been on the landscape and then has been suppressed. It's really crucial from an ecological standpoint, a cultural standpoint, and then just that expression of sovereignty.
Everything that they can do to help mitigate the risk to communities across the country is is a necessary measure.
The scars still present in Jasper more than a year after wildfire destroyed a third of the town, including the mayor's home. He wants a national strategy for community resilience and recovery.
I see this as at least a positive step in that direction. It's not yet a national strategy, but at least some funding for national knowledge.
We're not going to suppress our way out of this. We never could and we never will.
Some of the projects will provide immediate short-term guidance on where to allocate resources, but much of the research will help shape wildfire responses in the long term. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Coming up, we're learning all about how bees gather some pretty incredible product that not only makes honey, but makes what you're looking at right now. Stay with us for more details on what this is. It's that time of year again, and CTV and Chicken Chef want to know how you're soaking up this season. From concerts to weekend getaways, whatever's making your summer magical, we want to see it. Here are some amazing moments from this year so far. We can't wait to see more. Upload a photo of your summer for a chance to win the $5,000 grand prize, plus daily draws for $50 Chicken Chef gift certificates. So what are you waiting for? Grab your phone, snap that sunshine, and share your summer with us today. It's 8 o'clock on your Monday. Thank you so much for staying with us here on CTV Morning Live. Coming up at about 8:45, we're going to tell you about the Whoop and Holler Festival that's coming up this weekend. Of course, it's a folk festival. Many years it's been happening in Portage la Prairie. Now we're going to tell you about who the headliner is. It's Valdi. But first, your headlines. Steadfast on the line, what Air Canada workers say about Ottawa's latest moves in the labor dispute. Alberta by-election, why this is the day Tory leader Pierre Poilievre has been waiting for since the end of April. And style points are nice, but staying away from the rocky banks is job one for these outdoor divers in Slovenia. Ooh, a little too risky for me, Terry. Not a fan of diving into water where I can't see the bottom.
Right? I mean, at the same time, I suppose you don't want to see the bottom because that means it's way too shallow.
but you never know.
That's just it. Yeah, no, I'd rather just watch the video, but even then I'll be like cringing as I watch it. All right, let's take a look outside this morning. The water that we're seeing is forming in puddles. There's a bit of fog still hanging over the city. 17 degrees with east-northeast winds 5 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising. The humidity is sitting at 100%. We've been watching the rain coming down. We saw a fair bit of it over the weekend. My rain gauge on the rooftop registered just over 20 millimeters. Now that's from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and into this morning. And this morning it was still coming down. Now it looks like the bulk of it has pushed further off to the east, but there's still that heavier fog that we're waiting to see burn off throughout the province. You can see the heavier clouds. Precipitation still in the northeast, although some scattered precipitation throughout the north, central Manitoba, and even the possibility that we could still see some of that precipitation through the morning. But as the day goes on, we're going to notice the clearing, especially for anybody along that western border. We too will likely see a little more sunshine into the afternoon, and then just a few clouds overnight. A brighter day ahead for tomorrow. A warmer day ahead for tomorrow too. In fact, the next couple of days, temperatures will still be on the rise. If you thought it felt cool over the weekend, we were talking at the start of the show about how it had that sense of fall in the air. That's not going to feel that way tomorrow and Wednesday. 27, 29 degrees. Another round of storms perhaps on Thursday. It will cool down again for the weekend, so we'll be feeling that all over again. And I love this art. Thank you to 7-year-old Isabella. What a cool thing that you've done here with your hot air balloon. Looks like you yourself going for a ride in it. We'd love to see more of your art, so draw, color, paint, or get creative and send that picture to us. Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. Fire crews were busy responding to 3 fires across the city over the weekend. First call was shortly after 11 p.m. on Saturday when firefighters were called to a high-rise building in the 100 block of Donald Street. The blaze was quickly brought under control about 30 minutes later. 2 hours later, another call came in. This time, it was a garage in the 300 block of Riverton Avenue in Elmwood. In a media release, the city says no damage estimates were available. At the scene on Sunday morning, CTV News found multiple vehicles were destroyed. One of the owners of a destroyed vehicle did not want to be identified, but told CTV News that a car with nitro fuel exploded and spread to the garage. The third fire was in a commercial building in the 200 block of Gary Street around 7:30 a.m. on Sunday. Fire was under control about 2 hours after that. All 3 fires are under investigation and no injuries were reported. A 13-year-old boy is dead after a shooting in northern Manitoba. RCMP say officers from its detachment in Cross Lake responded to a report of a shooting at a home in Pimicikamak, Cree Nation, late Saturday afternoon. Mounties say officers were advised that a 13-year-old had been shot and was transported to the community's nursing station, where he was pronounced dead. Police have arrested a 17-year-old boy and seized a firearm. Disappointment and anger were 2 emotions mostly on display around Winnipeg's airport over the weekend.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Hate on you!
That was Leah Gazan, NDP MP for Winnipeg Centre, at the Air Canada flight attendants' picket line on Saturday. It was shortly after Federal Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu's back-to-work order. On Sunday, the union representing Air Canada's flight attendants defied Ottawa's back-to-work order. Flight attendants continued to hold their picket line on Sunday.
No worker should go to work unpaid, right? And we know that, and that's what we're fighting for here. A fair collective bargaining process, and we're calling for fair wages, and we're calling for the unpaid work to be paid. And we know we don't expect any Canadian to go to work and not get paid for part of their shift.
McKay added that the members learned that they have the general public who are pulling and sharing their messages. The airline had initially planned to resume flights Sunday, but it has now pushed that to this evening, canceling hundreds of more flights. Even still, it gave no indication as to how it plans to resume operations should flight attendants remain off the job. Alberta voters in the Battle River Crowfoot riding will be casting their ballots today in a federal by-election. More than 200 candidates are on the ballot, including Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre, who is hoping to return to the House of Commons after losing his seat in the federal election. This next item may be a little hard to watch if you're scared of heights. High divers from 14 countries faced off, performing daring jumps from an historic 17-meter bridge in Slovenia. 35 divers showcased their jumping styles and made a splash. Here's a look at what's happening at Kenaston and Sterling Lyon. That fog still playing a factor in this part of the city, as you can see here, affecting visibility for many drivers. So please be mindful of that. If you see any problems out there, let us know. Let's go back now to Joseph Bernacki. We're talking about beekeeping and some of the beautiful products that bees make, and we're not just talking about honey either. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, if you're just joining us on our show this morning, it's been great to spend time with Bee Boys Honey and Meadery. I'm very pleased to be joined by their mead maker, Michael Van Wallaham. Pleasure to have you on our show this morning.
Thank you, Joseph. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
If we have viewers tuning in this morning, Michael, that have never heard of mead, talk to us about what it is exactly.
Well, mead is an alcohol. It's made from honey, water, and yeast, and it has a long history. Mead was actually the first alcohol being discovered some 20,000 years ago.
I wanted to ask you about the history of it. Talk to us a little bit more about it.
Yeah. Well, there's a great folklore story that is passed down from generations, and it comes from an Aboriginal bush tribe. And these hunters were out there, and they came and stumbled across a couple of bears that were down by a water puddle, and a tree that had fallen down with a beehive in it. And they were drinking from it, and what the hunters noticed is they were kind of strange. They were sort of more plain, they weren't alert, they'd kind of go back to the water, have another drink, play around again, have another drink. And so when the bears finally left, the hunters went down there to say, what's this all about, this little puddle? And they started to drink some, and hey, they're feeling good, and it's kind of more exciting. And so that's where mead was discovered, and ever since then they would have it in any celebrations or anything they had, because you're spirited.
You had a little bit of experience making wine, you were telling us before, but what interested you the most when you learned about what this product was?
Well, first it was kind of a shocker moving from a little 5-gallon carboy and coming here with mead to make mead for Con, and using 1,000-liter tanks, which we'll see later. So it was a big jump up. So that was kind of exciting. How do you go about doing something in huge volumes? And after a couple of years, I'm kind of comfortable with it now. And you can see some of the products we made.
The end result on the table. Very nice. Right on. Well, Michael's going to be joining us again at 8:38. We'll be back in about half an hour's time to learn more about the mead making process and all the other things, cool things they get to do behind the scenes at Bee Boys. Stay tuned.
I love that story. Thank you, Joseph. A Quebec business owner is warning others after Meta cut off her access to customers. She says the move has cost her clients and years of work. CTV's Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil reports.
My Instagram page was basically the storefront of my business.
Felicia Chaliquias built her brand on social media and with it, her spray tan business. So she was stunned when, in June, Meta disabled her Instagram and Facebook accounts. The reason? A violation of the company's community standards.
It's been 10 years. I've never had anything flagged whatsoever, and my content is pretty consistent.
The Laval entrepreneur's content shows before and after results, spray tan tips, and engaging marketing videos.
This or that spray tan edition.
But Meta said her pages breached rules on child and sexual exploitation, abuse, and nudity, even though there were no children pictured. After a decade in business, Chaliquias had a loyal client base.
On average of like 50, 60 clients per week.
Since losing her pages, bookings have been cut in over half. She appealed Meta's decision the same day. The company said it could take up to 48 hours to review, but less than 2 minutes later, her appeal was rejected.
How can you review 10 years of content in 1 minute? That's how I knew it was an AI maybe glitch or something.
CTV News asked Meta for comment, but got no response. Because her business accounts were linked to personal ones, those were wiped out too, including her Facebook page of nearly 20 years.
I have family members on that from abroad. I have pictures, weddings, so many memories that were just stripped away from me.
She's tried creating new accounts, emails, calls. The new pages were suspended too. Only businesses with a paid Meta verified subscription can reach human support.
That's the only way you can actually have human contact, which I find a little unfair.
Chaliquias has new business pages, but says the damage is done. She's considering legal action before Meta's deadline to permanently delete her accounts on December 18th. And she warns others, when your business lives online, one click can erase it all. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil, CTV News.
All right, a look outside right now through the Bath Fitter Live Eye Bath Fitter. Your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. We've got a lot of fog out there this morning. Visibility has been pretty poor. Not to mention the fog, there's plenty of puddles out there as well. Let's talk first temperatures, though, before we get into those conditions. Well, I mean, we glanced at the conditions, but temperatures here are showing that we're above seasonal all throughout southern Manitoba. 11 degrees, that would be a normal low temperature. Mid-teens is where most of southern Manitoba is. And even northern Manitoba, a mild start for you, but the conditions are pretty much the same with the heavier clouds and some lingering precipitation. We got plenty of it over the weekend. Now we're going to start to see some tapering off and clearing as the bulk of that system pushes off to the east of us. Here's a look at how the temperatures will be rising through the day today. I know it did seem a little bit cool over the weekend, but temperatures today will be getting back to what is normal for this time of year by midday around the 20-degree mark, whereas northern Manitoba will be in those mid to high teens by noontime, pushing up into the low 20s across northern Manitoba, and 24 degrees. That would be a seasonal daytime high, exactly where we're headed here in Winnipeg today. But it continues to heat up still over the next couple of days. Mother Nature will be cranking up the heat for us. That's going to come with some storms by about Thursday, maybe even Wednesday afternoon or evening time into Thursday. And then following that, temperatures dropping off. We've got a slightly cooler weekend ahead as we drop into those high teens. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Good morning. A deadly parasite is biting into one of Canada's most prized catches. Now, oyster fishers are left to deal with reduced yields and shrinking profits. CTV's Maria Saru shows us how it's impacting PEI, the latest province to be hit by the disease.
It might look like any other workday on the water, but beneath the surface, trouble is spreading.
It's going to be a lot of hardship.
Dermo, a highly damaging oyster disease, has been detected in several provinces, including PEI. It can't hurt people, but can be a big blow to businesses. The PEI Shellfish Association's president, Bob McLeod, says any suspect cases by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency in a body of water means buyers won't touch the oysters.
That could destroy our whole fall.
Oyster fishers are already battling another parasite called MSX, which has a mortality rate rate of up to 95% for the shellfish. These cages you see behind me house baby oysters until they're roughly the size of a loonie, and then they're spread across the ocean floor for commercial fishers to harvest. Because of MSX and now Dermo, McLeod says some spots are off limits. Fishers have to find new areas, paying higher travel costs. Plus, some rivers are being overfished, meaning fewer catches and possibly fewer oysters on the market.
That can really impact everybody.
He says it would help if the CFIA was faster at determining if suspected cases are in fact confirmed. With these parasites creeping through oyster beds, fishers say the next weeks could make or break the fall harvest starting in September. Maria Saru, CTV News, Ellerslie, Prince Edward Island.
A new book explores the life of a local francophone who was instrumental in preserving the French language in Manitoba, helped prevent an assassination attempt on the life of the late and former Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, and who also worked to protect Manitoba's endangered ecosystems. Roger Turen's new memoir delves into 8 decades of his service to his language, his roots, Manitoba, and his country. The new book is titled Bit Player on Big Stages, a riveting journey through diplomacy, advocacy, and cultural survival. Joining us now is the author, Roger Turen. Good morning, Roger. Bonjour.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, this isn't your first book, but what sets this book apart is there's a French version as well as an English version that you wrote both of them. You didn't get anybody involved with writing either one of them or translating either one of them. You did all of this yourself. Two different publishers. Tell us about that.
Well, this is a bit unprecedented. I've checked it. It's never been done in Canada before. The media landscape is quite crowded. You know, it's a challenge just especially for an unknown, relatively unknown author to get published, one publisher. But I was aiming for 2 in 2 separate languages, and you know, long story short, it succeeded, and they're both come out relatively the same time. The French version was launched last June. The English version is coming September 3rd at McNally Robinson.
Well, congratulations. It must feel pretty fantastic to be able to say that.
It does. It was a long shot when I started this project about 4 years ago, and now I just received a copy of the English version just 3 days ago. So you know, feels good.
You are talking about your life for the last 8 decades and the many things that you've done in this community, but it all started in a small town in Saint-Pierre-Joli where you grew up as a francophone, where it was illegal to learn French, right?
It was illegal in the public schools, but we did it anyway. And there's a chapter in the book entitled The Hidden Books. And when I was about 10, 11 years old, one of my jobs when we expected the school inspector to come was to pick up all the French books at the desk, hide them in a closet at the back of the room, and when the inspector came, we were warned by the teacher ahead of time, you know, don't speak French, just behave like nice little Anglos. and then when the school inspector left, satisfied that everything was done according to the law, we took the French books out of the closet, redistributed and carried on teaching in French. This lasted for 40 years.
That's incredible.
And so, you know, that's one of the untold stories among many others that you find in the book.
Well, obviously, your French tongue was very important to you as a francophone. It led you into government, and then you were also at one point working for then Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. And tell us about this assassination.
Well, actually, I have to correct a thing. I had no role at all to play in thwarting an assassination. And the assassination plot was not against the Prime Minister. It was to assassinate the Ugandan foreign minister at a conference in Ottawa by his own president.
Oh, wow.
Because he hadn't delivered the speech that he hadn't, you know, told him to read. And anyway, it was thwarted, fortunately, at the last minute, and nobody ever heard of it because it didn't happen. But it was a close call. You know, the assassination, the 2 assassins were on their way to Ottawa, and they got turned back, you know, when they made a flight connection in Rome. But again, this is one of the many stories that, you know, will interest political junkies because they're revealed here for the first first time.
Now, your book launch is happening September 3rd, McNally Robinson, 7 p.m. And the person introducing your book and you, tell us about that.
The publisher will be in from Toronto, but I will also be interviewed in a setting like this one by a former Premier, Greg Selinger, who will be a special guest at that event.
So Bit Player on big stages, written by Roger Tsudan, available September 3rd. If you want to go to McNally Robinson, everyone is welcome. Thank you so much, Roger.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, standing out here in the fog still, but not needing an umbrella at this time. I did first thing this morning is that misty drizzle was still quite prevalent, but now that is gone, the fog remains, and we're just waiting to see that burn off to 17 degrees. So it is a mild start to your morning with light winds out of the east-northeast, just 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. Yes, there's that dampness just hanging in the air. Not to mention all the rain that we got over the weekend. I'll dump this out now. I just wanted to show you one last time. Look at that. That's what fell over the weekend. Where's the numbers? There they are. Just over 20 millimeters here on my rooftop. Now that's from the entire weekend. I won't put that in the flowers because, well, they got 20 millimeters over the weekend. They don't need any more of that. Anyway, that was from like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, cumulative over the weekend. Now we're probably just going to see some dry conditions for a couple of days. As this fog burns off, we'll see increasing amounts of sunshine. That'll be the case across the province with mid-20 temperatures, 24 expected. That is seasonal, but it gets hotter yet tomorrow, and then on Wednesday, temperatures just keep ramping up. Another round of precipitation is likely later this week on Thursday. Oh, and these two, how could we forget? Little Bennett and Theo looking oh so perfect. How pretty are they? A couple of, I was going to call them twins. They're not. They're just brothers, but they look alike, don't they? Thanks for showing up for the photo, and keep sharing them with us to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same-day oil and tire changes.
Do you love wine and a little VIP luxury? Then this is for you. We're giving away a Champagne Lounge VIP experience to the Winnipeg Wine Festival each week. That's for you and 3 friends at the RBC Convention Centre on September 26th and 27th. Enjoy exclusive wine tastings and support the Special Olympics while you're at it. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and enter the clue word taste. An American teenager remains stranded in Antarctica after he flew a small plane to the remote continent in June. As Stephanie Ramos shows you now, his flight was part of a plan to raise money for cancer research.
I'm attempting to become the first person ever to fly all 7 continents solo.
This morning, one teen's history-making flight with a purpose grounded after his unexpected arrest in Antarctica.
It's quite unfortunate. For example, my food is rationed. I don't have much freedom. I have a piece of bread and a teaspoon of butter for breakfast.
Ethan Guo was a year into his flight for a cancer mission.
Oh, perfect. I see Manila City.
Going from Memphis, traveling to all 7 continents, hoping his journey could inspire and raise $1 million for cancer research with St. Jude.
It was 6 a.m. in the morning. It was pitch black. There was unreported and unexpected icing. Then I proceed to lose my instruments, and so I'm unable to navigate in the pitch black.
But in June, he says, nothing could have prepared him for when mechanical issues on his flight from Chile to Argentina forced him to make an emergency landing at King George Island, a Chilean territory.
After I landed here, after 2-3 hours, they came up to me and they were like, okay, follow me, you're arrested. Then they proceed to take away my phone. Then they proceed to take away everything.
Chilean authorities claim Guo presented false flight information and landed without consent. But Guo claims this WhatsApp text message with a Chilean aviation official proves he had emergency approval to land. Now, more than 40 days since his arrest, a deal to dismiss the case has been reached under the condition that he donates $30,000 to a children's cancer charity and does not re-enter Chile for the next 3 years.
I maintain that I was innocent from the very beginning. So I'm finally grateful. I'm grateful for it to be finally officially recognized. I think this whole situation would have been resolved much sooner if all the evidence had been considered from the start and allowed to be presented.
Now, Ethan says he just wants his plane to continue the journey he set out on.
They said, number 1, the plane is not fit to fly. Number 2, the plane doesn't have enough fuel to fly. Number 3, the pilot doesn't have enough skills to fly. Number 4, the weather's too bad to fly. All 4 of those statements are objectively false. If I'm able to fly back, I'm able to continue the journey, the fight against cancer.
Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, New York.
Brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop. CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
On Fields to Forks today, we're learning a little bit about where your food comes from. Now, one of the things that I've learned from Fields to Forks before is that egg farmers are different from chicken farmers. Well, today we're going to meet a chicken farmer. Austin Reimer joins us today. Austin, this is your chicken farm. How long have you had this?
I have been operating the farm here for 5 years now. I'm the second generation here. My dad started here 40 years ago, so altogether 45 years it's been in our family.
Wow, keeping it in the family. I love that. What do you love about your job?
Well, I really enjoy the lifestyle. I like having my wife and kids here with me and teaching the kids how to care for our birds and to care for the land as well, and operate in a way that's sustainable for not only us and future generations as well.
Very nice. Yeah, 2 young kids. You said 5 years old, and how old is your daughter?
8.
8 years old. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about what happens in chicken farming. What does your day or year look like?
Sure. So in a year, we have 7 flocks of chicken come through our farm here. Right now, we're just getting set up for our next flock that's coming later this week. And yeah, so daily we come and check on our birds several times a day. We're always checking the feed and water, making sure that they have plenty of that. They're a free run in our barn here. They can have free access to food and water 24/7. And yeah, we're just always checking on the conditions and making sure it's perfect for them.
And yeah, speaking of perfect, I mean, it's temperature controlled in here too, right?
Yes, absolutely. Temperature controlled and monitored 24/7.
Very nice. And yeah, the chickens, they just get to kind of roam around, no cages or anything like that. So living a pretty good life. Could you imagine a temperature controlled Manitoba? How nice that would be. Let's talk about the use of hormones, because that, a lot of people might think, oh, is that something that's going into our food? Absolutely not, right?
No, absolutely not. In fact, hormones and steroids have been outlawed or illegal since the 1960s, so that never gets fed to our birds. They're fed a grain-based diet, mostly wheat and corn and soybeans.
Very nice. I think a lot of people would be happy to hear that. Is this a unique operation?
Not necessarily. Yeah, we are a multi-generational family farm, but that's, most farms in Manitoba are that way, especially chicken producers. 97% of farms are family-owned, just like ours.
Very nice. Do you think the kids are going to want to get into this someday too?
I think so. They really enjoy being here, and they have a lot of fun with it, so I could see them wanting to do it in the future, yeah.
Oh, I could only imagine when the little chicks show up how much fun that must be. It must get loud in here when it's full of chickens, yeah?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They're a noisy bunch, but it's a lot of fun.
Very nice. Anything else that you think the people at home should know about chicken farming?
If you want to learn more about chicken farming or get some great recipes, you can always go to manitobachicken.ca.
There you have it, learning a little bit more about where your food comes from. All right, 17 degrees. Wow, that cleared up quickly, didn't it? Is this the same camera view that we had before? That's impressive. 17 degrees right now. East-northeast winds, they're 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. Where are we taking us? What else are we going to see? Oh, a little bit of that fog. Okay, yeah, it is still there. All right. I thought, wow, that was a quick clear up. I mean, certainly some improvements, so that's nice to see. There you can see the precipitation moving off to the east. Still seeing some thunderstorm activity tucked in there as well. So far more active weather to the east of us. Now we're starting to see that fog dissipating. The drizzle is pretty much tapered off. Now we just need that fog to finish clearing, and then plenty of sunshine is expected into the afternoon, or at least some sunshine expected into the afternoon. With seasonal temperatures, we'll take it, 24 degrees, and the winds remaining light today out of the southeast at about 10 clicks. Light winds then expected overnight. Just a few clouds as we drop down to 16 degrees, so temperatures similar to this past night. That keeps us a little bit above seasonal. Normal low temperatures would be around 11 degrees, so mild nights ahead. Warm days ahead tomorrow and Tuesday. No, tomorrow is Tuesday. Tomorrow and Wednesday, we'll be getting even hotter yet. So 27 degrees, mostly sunny, light winds, and from there even hotter yet on Wednesday, up to 29 degrees. Following that, some possible thunderstorms to roll through. That'll be on Thursday, and then those temperatures will cool down a little bit below seasonal as we look to the end of the week and into the coming weekend.
Thank you, Terry. On the weekend, the Royal Aviation Museum had a visitor from the Winnipeg Police. Meet the Air One. It is an air Airbus H-120 helicopter from the Flight Operations Unit of Winnipeg Police. The helicopter joined the service in 2011 and has been helping out search and rescue, surveillance, and emergency response. Flight crew from the unit were present at the museum to explain the helicopter.
We like to help them out by searching large areas for them that several cars might have to be assigned to. It might be something that we can look over for them in a matter of seconds or minutes.
Other two visiting aircraft over the summer were P-51 Mustang and Air Tractor AT-802. Statistics Canada is set to publish its July inflation data this week, and economists will be looking at how higher costs from tariffs are being passed on to consumers. The July data will be published Tuesday. The numbers for June showed annual inflation increased to 1.9%. Economists say tariffs likely kept inflation higher for food and durable goods. There is also a belief that the Bank of Canada will need to see more easing before it feels comfortable cutting interest rates again. China has filed a complaint with the World Trade Organization over Canada's steel import restrictions. Last month, Ottawa announced an additional 25% tariff on steel imports containing steel melted and poured in China. On Friday, Beijing called the policy discriminatory, saying it disregarded WTO rules. This comes as Beijing has imposed new temporary duties on Canadian canola and other imports. Analysts have said those charges are likely a response to Canada's tariff on Chinese-made electric vehicles. There is a growing call for justice this morning after an 8-year-old Toronto boy was fatally struck by a stray bullet while lying in his bed.
It just made me sick. There's too many innocent people being shot, and this has to end.
For a boy to be shot in their home right beside their mother, that's supposed to be the safest place that you can be.
Advocates and a city councillor are calling for solutions to address gun violence in the city after 8-year-old Javé Roy was killed. He was hit by the stray bullet around 12:30 Saturday morning. Police say someone opened fire from an area at the edge of the residential property, unsuccessfully hitting their target and instead hitting the window of a unit, killing the boy who was asleep next to his mom. Police are still appealing for witnesses. Hurricane Erin has re-intensified to a Category 4 storm this morning. Erin is now churning in the Atlantic north of the Dominican Republic. It's expected to stay offshore, but is already bringing dangerous rip currents to U.S. shores. Erin's outer rain bands have already lashed Puerto Rico, triggering flash flooding and power outages, and is now being felt in the southeast Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos. The U.S. East Coast and Bermuda are expected to feel the storm's impact by tomorrow. Vancouver's first romance bookshop opened its doors this past weekend, generating quite a buzz and an eager crowd.
We've been waiting in line for almost an hour. We got here about 45 minutes or so before they opened.
Book lovers lined up around the block to browse the 7th bookstore of its kind in Canada. Perfect Match was previously an online shop growing alongside social media communities like Bookstagram and Book Talk that celebrate the romance genre. Eating healthy can be expensive. CNN's Mandy Gaither now with advice on how to get the most nutrition for your dollar.
You want to eat healthy, but you also have to watch your budget. Experts say doing both can be hard right now, but not impossible.
Are we making any unnecessary purchases, such as snack foods, sugar-sweetened beverages, any maybe convenience foods? Are we eating out more than we should?
Registered dietitian Julia Zumpano with Cleveland Clinic says all of those things add up. So instead of spending your money on them, shift your focus to whole foods, which are the foundation of a healthy diet. That includes lean proteins, whole grains, fruits, veggies, and healthy fats.
Before you walk into that grocery store, I would do a little bit of planning ahead. So make a grocery list, check for sales and you know, any discounts or coupons. Those are also great.
Zumpano says buying in bulk can also save money. So can avoiding what she calls convenience foods like pre-washed vegetables, pre-marinated meats, and fruit that's already been cut.
If you're able to do some of that legwork on your own, you can save cost there too.
Going with frozen fruit and vegetables or fresh produce that's in season can also add nutrition to your diet without the extra cost. And she says stick with staples.
Beans and legumes are an excellent staple to have because they provide so many nutrients.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Let's take a look now what's happening in traffic along Pembina Highway. Things appear to be moving well. Still that fog affecting issues visibility-wise out on the streets. If you see any problems out there, please let us know. And here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average stands at $1.35. The provincial average is lower at $1.32. And in Winnipeg, the average is $1.33. The lowest price in the city is $1.27. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the Pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Let's go back now to Joseph Bernacki. We've been talking about bees and some of the amazing products that they produce, including mead. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. And now we get to be behind the scenes, which is pretty cool. Very pleased to be joined again by Michael Van Wallaham from Bee Boys. Pleasure to have you on our show again for another segment.
Thanks, Joseph.
Yeah, so we alluded that we were going to talk about mead making about half an hour ago. Talk to us about what's in front of us and kind of the ingredients that go into this pretty cool process.
Well, this is the fun part. So mead is made from just basically three things. It's got honey in it, we put in some filtered water, and some yeast. Now, you can't just put it in there and mix it around and away it goes. So
it sounds pretty simple, but there's definitely a process to this. So kind of walk us through. Yeah.
There is, and part of it is getting the temperatures of the waters correctly so that the yeast is going to formulate and multiply in there. But we start out by measuring out the kind of honey we want. So in here we have 550 liters in a 1,000-liter tank. So I have to calculate how much honey I need in order to have the sugars converted to alcohol. And when we're doing that, we set up the yeast, we put in the water, we get everything ready, and then we activate the yeast. Put it in here and let it get started. And what I do then is for the next couple of days, I got to feed my yeast, keep the energy level up. And I'll take this paddle and I'll be stirring in the mead here because it produces carbon dioxide. And we want to try and drive off some carbon dioxide and keep the yeast active. We don't want to build up a lot of pressure in there.
Cameraman Kenny was, of course, just getting a chance to show inside these big tanks. How long was the process, give or take, from start to finish? Of course, with the honey's already made in advance, but to get the drink that we had saw earlier in the show.
Yeah, well, it'll be active probably for about a week, and then it starts settling down. We have to let it settle down. So by 2 or 3 weeks, we've got a product that we can start working with. And then along the way, if we want to make flavored ones, as we saw earlier, blueberry, strawberry, etc., we'll put the fruits inside of this thing and let it sit for a while and let it grab that flavor.
This might sound like a silly question, but how do you know you have a good mead? Is it the bitterness? Is it the flavors of how much fruit you add?
Yeah, what you're trying to aim for is a sweetness level that people will want. So we have different variances. If you want to have a dessert wine, it's going to have more of a sweet taste on it. So we'll be adding some honey back in to bring up the sugar level so that you get a great sweetness out of it. Some will want dry, some we want medium. So there's a lot of work on what we're going to make.
Wonderful. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on our show this morning, Michael. And, of course, Bee Boys will have more information on the link on our website from everything from this morning.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. I find it fascinating learning about that process. Terry, how's it feeling outside?
Just rain started up again, or drizzle, mist. It's very fine, not like a full-out rain, but enough that I needed to get the umbrella or I was going to get even more wet than the fog is making me. The dampness out here, you're going to notice that as soon as you step outside, like a wall of water or fog, as we've been dealing with over the course of the morning. 17 degrees. It's an above seasonal start to your Monday with very light winds. They're out of the east-northeast, just 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 100%, and yes, that dampness to the air. We will likely see things clearing out, though. Eventually, this little bit of misty drizzle will come to an end. The fog will dissipate, and then some sunshine into the afternoon. Anybody along that western border will notice that clearing a little bit earlier. For those of us on the eastern side, the clouds or fog might hang around a little bit longer. And further east yet, through parts of northwestern Ontario, you might see that system of showers or thunderstorms even linger throughout the day. Once it clears for us, we've got some pretty pleasant temperatures. A seasonal 24 degrees on tap today. Then it gets hotter yet tomorrow and Wednesday. Mercury just keeps rising up into the high 20s. Thursday, that could be a soggy day with some possible thunderstorms before we're looking ahead at some slightly cooler temperatures into the coming weekend. And we're taking a break right now, but we'll see you soon with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live Weather is brought to you by Destination Dinner Stage, Manitoba's only musical dinner theater.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
Good morning, it's 8:45. Do you get fed up with people walking too slow or hogging the sidewalk? Well, now one rising star on social media is trying to do something about it. He's building an online community of folks who can't stand poor sidewalk etiquette. Here's ABC's Danny New.
Part 65. A lifelong New Yorker fed up with what he refers to as bad walkers.
People are actually this unaware and slow. I think people go through it all the time, all around the world.
For the past few months, Matt Bass here has been picking up millions of views on TikTok.
An awful pace, huge width.
As he documents the people who do not seem to respect the hustle and bustle of America's biggest city. One commenter writing, "This account is so validating, LOL."
What? Oh, I didn't even plan that.
Oftentimes, people are glued to their phones.
Happy family with a chain link fence.
Matt will also come up with different names for walking formations.
We're 5 wide, not a care in the world, taking up the whole sidewalk.
Or just count how large a group is as they stroll side by side by side by side by side.
Have you tried saying excuse me?
I say excuse me all the time. The excuse me is often met with indifference.
Now his commenters have been suggesting different instruments to get people's attention with, such as a rubber chicken or a bell, which did not seem to work really at all.
Hey, I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
And while yes, as Dustin Hoffman showcased in Midnight Cowboy, New Yorkers may just always be in an unnecessary hurry, Matt says he hears from folks in rural areas too.
When they say, go to the grocery store, I can't get through an aisle, or, you know, you should see my Costco on Sunday. They're just taking up the whole sidewalk. The cross-body bag convention might be happening this weekend.
So up next, Matt now wants to take bad walkers on the road and visit the many cities his online community suggests are equally frustrating.
I know that there are other places with walking inefficiencies that need documenting.
An upcoming festival is celebrating not just folk music, but also community, art, and nature. The Whoop and Holler Folk Festival is back at Portage la Prairie this coming weekend. Joining us now are Linda Omachinsky and Josh Wright from the Whoop and Holler Folk Festival. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Michelle.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, this is the festival's 11th year.
It is.
But this idea for the festival really started 15 years ago. Is that right?
It did.
Tell us about that.
Well, 15 years ago, Valdi played in our home as part of the Home Roots tour. And he looked around our property, our acreage, and thought that it would be ideal for a festival. And so then we thought about it, he planted the seed, and 4 years later, Whoop and Holler Folk Festival was born, and Josh came on board.
So tell us about the festival itself. What is it like, and what happens there?
So
we have 15 music acts from across Manitoba and Canada this year.
Okay.
Valdi is, of course, headlining.
Which is so cool,
coming
it's
from
a full
Salt Spring
circle,
Island.
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's come completely full circle. And Catherine Fisher is joining the lineup from London, Ontario as a touring musician. So part of Whoop and Holler is bringing touring acts to the forefront in Manitoba, exposing them to a new audience. And bringing in acts from across Manitoba, like Kelly Badeau, Leaf Rapids, and Tracy K Blues Duo, a whole bunch of different genres and musical instruments which people will be able to hear at the festival.
But it's not just about music, right?
No, but I just want to mention that one of the highlights of Whoop and Holler and makes it different is the Fusion Workshop. And so this year, Valdi will be in the Fusion Workshop together with Tracy K Blues Duo and Kelly Badeau with our African pop. So that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see this. In addition, he'll have a solo act on Saturday and a different solo act on Sunday. And Sunday it's a community outreach, which is free at Island Park.
So describe what the vibe is. What is it like? We're seeing some video right now. Obviously there are tents around, but it's also the camping experience that's part of it that brings joy. There's stuff going on for the whole family. Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, what's really unique is some people have described it as to what Winnipeg Folk Festival used to be. It's a smaller version of it.
Okay.
And so the vibe is, it has such a neat, open caring, warm vibe. And the camping is in among the reed grass, which is tall grass.
Yeah.
We have a pathway through it. People just put the reed grass down, lay it down, put their tent on. It's very cushiony, it's very soft. And because the grass is tall around you, you feel like you're in a little cocoon.
Oh, that sounds perfect.
So it's really serene and very tranquil.
And it's a really lovely experience for the whole family as well. To camp there, to enjoy some great music. There's food vendors, all kinds of activities.
Artisans, and you want to talk about the children's activities?
Yes, so we have a number of children's activities, like for kids 12 and under, for youth. So hands-on workshops like designing your own t-shirts, graphic design, using printing materials, and we have children's entertainment as well. Judy and Ruby, 2 kids performers who are very popular. They engage youth with dance, theater, and music. And we have big games for the kids, giant Yahtzee and lawn games, and a whole variety of activities that you can take part in.
Scavenger hunt, where they give them clues and they go from one place to another.
Yeah. So this is happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Portage la Prairie.
Saturday and Sunday, just
not
so
Friday.
Campers can arrive Friday.
Okay, that's what it is.
To get settled in,
okay.
yes.
And there are still many spots available for camping as well.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing this with us. And of course, if you want more information, we do have a link on our website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and it looks like it'll be pretty pleasant over the weekend. A little bit on the cooler side, but some sun will be out by then. We're not seeing that yet this morning, but yet, because it does look like it'll probably clear for us later on today. 17 degrees, we're still dealing with some misty fog, east-northeast winds, 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 100%. Not much showing up on the satellite image for us because it really is just the fog. The bulk of the activity has pushed off to the east. Just a little bit of light mist that doesn't even register on our satellite image. But that's what we're dealing with through the morning hours. And then into the afternoon, the sky should clear. We'll get some sunshine back. We'll get some seasonal temperatures today. Coming off of a slightly cool weekend, mercury was starting to ramp up again. So a seasonal high of 24, then it gets a little bit hotter, and then it gets even hotter yet. You can see mercury on the rise over the next few days with a fair bit of sunshine in the days ahead. Up until Thursday, that's when some heavier clouds will be moving in with some possible precipitation. Still with the mid-20 temperatures, but on the other side of that, we will notice not just the sky clearing out again, the temperatures dropping off. And so finishing off the weekend, kicking off the weekend with slightly below seasonal temperatures, 24 degrees. That would be normal for this time of year, and we'll be just shy of that this weekend. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center.
Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Well, Terry, we want to roll into the week like this, guys. Check this out. Just say when. This guy swapped his tire for a full wheel of Parmesan on his car, then put the grater up to it while pressing on the gas. It's a fast way to get a little fromage onto your salad.
I don't need the fast way. I'm fine with the slow way.
Me too. It's more on the road than on the bowl.
Off the car. Not on right? I don't know. What a waste of a wheel of cheese.
Yeah, they're not cheap either. Well, getting a haircut is a treat for many, including this gal.
Hot dog!
Gigi has a standing reservation with her stylist. She's just getting a trim off the top, a little refresh for the week for this pampered pup.
Oh, I could watch that all day.
No, look at her, she's falling asleep.
I do that too in the stylist chair, to be fair. But then you get the head bobs and a bald spot all of a sudden.
Look at her, she's so sweet.
Oh my goodness, the little cape they've got on her.
So cute. That does it for us. We'll see you tomorrow.